All right, I think we are live. Sorry about that. I was having some issues with things, but I figured it out. Happy Wednesday. So I was going to stream my Blue Lions Maddening and keep going with that tonight, but considering I woke up to a brand new Fire Emblem Engage trailer, I figured a lot of you guys probably want to talk about that. So I wrote down some notes, and we're going to go through it live. If you have questions for me about Engage, not that I'm some kind of Engage expert, but I have been trying to peer at the trailers pretty closely, so perhaps I can answer them if you want to leave them in the chat. Let's see how things are working here. I also should tweet this out like I usually do. So let's get this set up. Hope you guys are doing well. One moment. All right, tweeting that out. Thanks for your patience. Let's see what we have here. What's up, Stellar Luna, Vantage Emblem, Tristan, Last of RWBY, or Ruby, is that the anime? Mary Sue, Roy the Boy, welcome guys. Is the video working? My thing is not showing it. Hold on. Yeah, it looks like it. Okay. Sorry about that. What's up, Fitzu, Aridash? I'd say we should get started. So, this is the trailer. I think you guys can see this. Let me know if you can't. I'll try to switch back and forth between this and chat, although it's been a little finicky today. Let's start at the beginning. I don't think this should be too loud for you. But right out of the gate here, sorry to pause it immediately, but we've already have stuff to talk about. So it's the real question about this scene for me personally is this scene taking place in the past or in Alir's present after they've woken up? Because to me, this kind of seems like a good sort of origin cutscene, but there might be some evidence for both things here. This character kind of reminds me so far a lot of Mikoto in the beginning of Fire Emblem Fates, that being Corrin's like pseudo mother character who kind of dies, and that sets off the events of Fire Emblem Fates. So there's a couple things here that remind me of that. But basically, this character gives Alir the ring, says collect all 12 of the rings, and then proceeds to die. And there's a couple more clips in here. This trailer really, to me, is kind of like a big mishmash of trailer moments. It's like they didn't want to reveal so much or make certain things too obvious. But if you actually like splice all of the different clips together, not that I have, but in my mind I have, I feel like you could kind of understand the scenes a little bit better. So there might be a lot of jumping around here tonight as we kind of go through this, but because I'm pretty sure if this is a divine dragon type character, if this is Alir's mother or perhaps some sort of Naga-esque character in this game, it seems very likely to me that this character probably does transform into a dragon. And we have a scene later of another new dragon that we haven't seen that kind of protects Alir. So, I mean, in my mind, that's probably the reason why this character is dying, is that they've saved Alir and entrust Alir with this mission. But like I was saying, the biggest question for me here is like, is this happening thousands of years in the past? And then Alir somehow gets knocked out, goes to sleep, and then eventually remembers this moment throughout the game's events? Or is this straight up happening in the present day? I feel like it's probably not present day. That doesn't seem right to me. But in that case, Alir's going to have to wake up through the events of the story. And as we'll see also later on in this trailer, Alir really uses Marth, the emblem Marth spirit, as kind of a sounding board of like, hey, how was I? So perhaps Alir's loss of memory is going to be helped throughout the game as you begin to remember more and more, and maybe as you collect the rings and they can remind Alir of certain aspects of their personality or how they were, or maybe jog some of those memories from the past. So it seems like memory is going to be kind of a big thing here for Alir. But without further ado, let's let this play out a little bit and we'll keep talking about that.
Please, I beg of you, gather together all 12.
So pausing here for a second, because you can see clearly, I mean, the hand on the face, like caressing, is pretty indicative that whoever this character is, Alir is very close to. I also just want to point out here before I forget, you can see, as much as I don't love the art style so far of this game, I do find it interesting that characters, especially the male characters, even have like lower eyelashes. Especially with a character like Sigurd, I feel like it's quite interesting. Even some of them are different colors. So that has nothing to do with the analysis. It's just an interesting little stylistic detail. So regardless, back to what we were talking about, the hand on the face caressing. I mean, I feel like that's a pretty good indicator of there being some kind of familial or important connection here between Alear and this character. I think one of the translated posts that we got from the official Fire Emblem Japanese Twitter did talk about the fact that Alear comes from a family of divine dragons. So I don't know if that implies that there are more of them or if Alear is the last one or anything. We don't really know, I guess, enough about that, or I'd have to go back and check out some of those posts and see how exactly it was worded. But basically, I mean, either this is Alear's mother or like pseudo mother or Naga figure mother, and clearly there's some affection here, because you don't just touch someone's face like that and give them your ring. So just my 2 cents on that one. Let's see how the chat is doing here. What's up, Fred Sanchez? Fred says, hey, Lucky Crit, I still can't agree with how most people dislike most of the characters' designs. Someone has to sue me for me to say otherwise. There's definitely some that I like. I like Abby's a lot, but there's also some that I'm kind of on the fence about myself personally. I'm going to give the game a shot, obviously, of course. I'm not going to judge it until I actually play it, but so far I do kind of understand the perspective of a lot of folks that are not really huge fans of the art style so far, because it's definitely a little bit more anime than usual. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with anime. I just think, I think a game like Fire Emblem Echoes or Fire Emblem Three Houses, the art styles for those two games in particular, those being two recent entries as well, I feel like those rode the line better and achieved it better. I really like the art for Fire Emblem Three Houses and the way that the characters looked, because to me it's like, it's distinct enough that it's not just like anime art. This one, I think we're entering more questionable territory. For example, Sigurd. I think for me, Sigurd is a good example here. He's not in this trailer, at least not very much, if he is like at all. We could look at some of the Sigurd reveal pics later. I don't have them up right now. But Sigurd himself, I mean, I would have made him a little bit more Chad, but he has kind of a thin neck and a very thin face. He just doesn't look very... I think he could have been a bit stronger looking. And even I saw some folks talking and commenting about Ike's arms in this trailer. So we can talk about that when we get there as well. But it's just a little bit more generic anime looking. And like I said, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm not going to judge it so quickly. But we also do have some really kind of bizarre character designs. Like we have a girl that we'll talk about soon here that straight up kind of looks like she's from Candyland. And I don't hate it. Let me be very clear. I don't hate that one. But we're entering some clown territory with a couple folks here. So I can see why some people would be complaining about that potentially. What's up, TJ Bates? TJ Bates says, I just subbed with Prime. I think I should have an alert for that, and I'm not seeing it. But if you did, thank you. Let's see what the rest of you are saying, then we'll get back into it. Sorry to delay. I just want to make sure that I'm paying attention to chat every now and again. What's up, Amanda? Amanda says, hope you're doing well, Stevie. Thank you, Amanda. Appreciate you. Roy the Boy says, I forgot about the main character amnesia. Yeah, I mean, can't get away from that. Also, dead parents meme. Yep. What's up, Angkor? It's not a Fire Emblem game unless the parents are dead, or I don't even know, bad or evil or something. So, I mean, I will be honest. I'm excited for this game. More specifically, I'm very excited for the battle animations. I feel like from what we've seen of the battle shots, and maybe we could play a couple of those clips later on as well. From what we've seen of those, the combat, the animations, they're looking so much more fluid than ever. There's like even more of a sense of like weight to the weapons, and like when they attack, like I just feel like it looks more realistic than ever in combat, and the energy is like so chaotic and so enjoyable. I'm like really excited for the combat. But what I will say about the story so far is, from the bits and pieces that they've given us, it seems pretty solidly generic. I mean, it's the 30th anniversary entry in the series, so I could see how they might want to go kind of classic-ish with it. But so far, there's nothing really all that exciting or different about it. So my biggest fear here, story-wise, not that we play Fire Emblem for the story, but it's nice when it has a good story on top of everything else. My biggest fear here is that it just will be too generic. It remains to be seen. We have to give it a shot, of course, but from the two trailers that we've gotten here so far, seems pretty classic, series standard, a little bit tropey, kind of generic. So, you know, what are you going to do? I mean, it's the 30th entry. They probably wanted to play it safe and kind of have a lot of callbacks to stuff, especially with the rings and the lords and everything. So, the Couch Potatoes 13 says, my favorite topic, Ike's arms, naturally. What's up, Joe Dan? Joe Dan says, yes, combat animations look great. Okay, let's get back to this. I'll check chat in a little bit here, but let's continue on. So, probably Alir's mother or some kind of familial figure who's now dying after, I assume, they've saved Alir. We'll look at that clip in a little bit here because, like I said, it's kind of interspersed. So let's keep going.
Rings.
Yeah, so you can see this shot here. It's. I'm gonna put it on the slow-mo because it happens really quick. But this is a new dragon that we have not seen before. It's not the one from the first trailer, and it looks to be protecting Alir. So I'm sorry, actually the audio is going to be awful here. Let's mute that for a second. You can see Alir there kind of in the fog. So they're in this kind of pillared temple. Looks like some kind of darkness blast thing is happening here, and Alir is being kind of like shoved out of the way or protected. Bam. And Alir is off screen now. So my assumption when I see this, and like I was saying earlier with how it's like bits and pieces of these scenes seem to be scattered throughout the trailer, and we can kind of put them back together. This looks like that character, you know, maybe the Fell Dragon has awoken here, and perhaps this is 1,000 years ago or whatever the correct time is going to be. Fell Dragon doesn't attack at Alir. Alir gets defended, and now this character dies and entrusts Alir with the task of collecting the 12 rings to get rid of the Fell Dragon. So that's what I would say about that. But pretty cool looking look to that dragon. Kind of reminds me of Rhea a little bit from Three Houses, but obviously a little bit different too. All right, put the sound back on and let's keep going.
Shattered memories return to you. You must fight on with the utmost divinity.
So this is interesting. I mean, like I was saying, it's talking about Alir's memories, but even that character seems to imply that Alir is going to have the memories returned to them. I'm going to play that one more time. Start from like right here.
When your scattered memories return to you, you must fight on with the utmost divinity. I believe in you, my child.
So seems like a parent. I forgot about that part earlier when I was watching this. I didn't put two and two together. I mean, clearly it seemed very parental, but I wasn't positive. So somehow with what happens or what becomes of Alir 1,000 years ago, that character knew that Alir would lose their memories and somehow have to regain them in order to accomplish this task. So just something interesting to think about. Maybe they do something to Alir or tell Alir to do something that does put Alir to sleep for thousands of years, which leads to the events of the game. So we got the Alir crying scene here, very reminiscent of Byleth crying.
Understand. I'll collect the ring.
We have the ooh pinky promise scene. It's just, oh, the memes that'll come from this. I know Goosephone tweeted something like that out earlier, which I found pretty funny. It's a cute little moment here, but it's pretty funny in retrospect. Actually, this motherly figure here kind of reminds me of Milla from Fire Emblem Echoes, but with blue hair in this particular scene. We can't really see like pointed ears or anything, but whatever is on her ear is looking a little odd, which kind of reminds me of that.
I swear to you, and I'll fight. I'll do whatever you want. Help me.
So my assumption is with this particular part, although we do see, hold on, let me go back 1 second. We see like an Aurora Borealis here behind Marth. And to me, when we saw the first trailer, it's pretty clear that Marth gets summoned. You could see, let's watch this part.
Good to see you.
So Marth gets summoned on this kind of grassy plain here. And I get the feeling that, you know, obviously this is going to happen in the game. I feel like if Alir already has Marth's ring when they wake up, which based on everything I've said so far, I feel like that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. They just probably don't remember what it is or what it does, and something is going to have to jog that memory. My assumption is then there's a bad moment where Alear needs help and then somehow activates the ring and summons Marth, and that's going to be, you know, here in this grassy area. And I'm assuming that that's what all this Marth footage is. Maybe just when you summon the ring, it does this kind of Aurora Borealis Pokemon Evolve screen background. Because otherwise, I don't know what this specific part here is supposed to represent. Actually, I think we do. Because this, in the first trailer, shows Alear facing off against the Fell Dragon. So maybe this is just a scene from later on, and they've merged the two together here. I don't think this is a scene from the past. But we could talk about that later, because there's going to be some more stuff, especially with this hallway moment too. I forgot to comment on as well. We see this part with Alear running down this hallway, and to me this is very reminiscent of the Lucina scene from Fire Emblem Awakening, when you see the future and Lucina's timeline, where basically everyone is kind of dead and it's being overtaken, and it's kind of like the sad future that's potentially coming. The Trunks timeline from Dragon Ball Z. I love Trunks. That's like my favorite Dragon Ball Z character. But future Trunks, his timeline where everything is kind of awful and terrible, and it needs to be fixed. So when we first saw like parts of this scene in the first trailer, I felt like this has to be like the past, right? Like things are being overtaken. It's bad. Maybe that was just my assumption. It seems like that's probably incorrect now, because we do see moments of this later on. And there's actually Alear and the allies from the various nations in this same hallway fighting. So maybe this is actually later on in the game. I find it a little hard to believe that they would show us something from like actually later on in the game in like these early trailers, especially in the first trailer, so soon here. But this is clearly once Alear has already recruited a bunch of people and they have like multiple rings. We're not going to see it in this part, but we'll get to it later in the trailer. There's a bunch of people here, including somebody with the Ike ring, somebody with the Roy ring. So either this is like a mid-game or a premonition of what's to come in the future. It also kind of reminds me and might tie into that moment from the first trailer where Alear opens the door with Marth. So I wonder if that's like some point later in the game where you finally enter this area, or if the world is kind of ending and being taken over by the corrupted here in the Fell Dragon, and this is like the final push to defeat the Fell Dragon. So that will have to remain to be seen. But yeah, I was always kind of wondering like what the placement was going to be in terms of the game's story for this particular scene, because it kind of seemed like maybe something from the past that Alear remembers, or that we get to see in the beginning of the game, right? Because like the real question too is like, how is this game going to start? Like Fire Emblem Awakening had a really cool beginning where you see like these other scenes, and then finally the character wakes up, to Chrom and to Lissa out in the field. So in this game, I would imagine that Alear waking up is not going to be the first scene either. So something like this to me seemed like the perfect first like introductory sequence. But obviously, like I was saying, we've also seen here that Alear had those other modern allies here in this hallway. So that seems to not be the case. And it also doesn't really make that much sense, because if the world was ending here, that would imply that Alear did slay the Fell Dragon and seal them away, and then went to sleep, saved the world, went to sleep, and then woke up, and now it's happening again, which I guess is totally plausible as well. But this seems like a world is ending chaos kind of a moment, and that it seems like a little too far maybe for like a victory lap to start the game off with before Alear goes to sleep. So anyway, let's continue.
I believe in you, my child.
I understand. I'll collect the rings.
Pinky promise.
And I'll whatever you want.
Let's go ahead a little bit here.
Lend me your strength in this fight.
I am known as Marth, Emblem Marth.
I find it really interesting, and like it's not surprising, but they went out of their way to specify that this is Marth, Emblem Marth, meaning that it's not like the actual soul or like cross timeline spirit or energy of Marth. It seems like maybe somehow Marth's essence was put into this ring or something. So it doesn't, I don't think it's the real person of Marth. It's like a ring incarnation of Marth. Like somehow the energy is in the ring. Not that that makes a big deal or anything, but at least now you can live happily knowing that the Fire Emblem characters that you know and love, the main lords, they're not trapped in rings forever, forced to be slaves to whatever owner wields the ring. I mean, I guess these versions of them are, but at least you can live knowing that it's probably not the real main versions of them. So Emblem Marth, Emblem Celica, Emblem Ike, Emblem Roy. There's going to be a bunch of them. Emblem Sigurd. And like I was saying earlier too, what I find interesting is they made a big deal of the fact that, especially in the first trailer, we got to see Alear talking to Marth within the like home base area, whatever that's going to be called, the base camp, whatever place that is. They made a big deal of the fact that you can actually talk to the character, which at first I was kind of like, yeah, that's not really a surprise. It's not a big deal. Because like in Fire Emblem Fates, for example, if you scanned the amiibo for the characters, they would show up in your castle and you could like interact with them. But like, I mean, what are they going to say? Like a couple generic lines and then, give you an item and disappear or whatever. But in this game specifically, they went out of their way to make it so that I don't know if it's going to be a part of the main story exactly, or there's going to be some story moments including that. But it seems like they will be around the main base and appear if you have their ring. And Alear seems to be using Marth as a sounding board to actually try to remember some of the things that they've forgotten from the past. So we'll see that part a little bit later.
To be clear, it is good to see you. I was able to answer your call because you remembered me.
That's pretty interesting too. I just missed the frame. It's a cool shot. So Marth can only appear to help Alear because Alear remembers him. So something is going to have to be jogging Alear's memory here in order for Alear to use the rings. And if Alear is able to use all 12 of the rings, unless they are character specific and only certain characters can use certain ones, and not to sidetrack, but when we do see that hallway scene later, there are some weird pair-ups, like Lucina is with Alfred. So like a sword user with a lance user. So it doesn't really, that to me seems a little like you'd think the first trailer showed Alfred with Sigurd, which made more sense to me. And the characters we've seen that the characters can have different weapons. Sigurd has Tyrfing at one point and a lance, I forget what lance it was, in another part. So the Emblem characters actually can seem to either level up or change throughout the game as well. But the theory as to each ring being locked to a certain character, I'm kind of not feeling like that's going to be the case anymore. If it is, it's going to be a handful of characters probably. But then the other question that this raises, though, is does that mean that Alear was familiar with all of these characters and their rings in the past? Well, like, what was Alear? Like some kind of like ring keeper or something like that? Because then Alear would have to have memories of each of these characters in order to use the ring for them to help Alear later. Because Marth is only able to help Alear because Alear remembered him. So I find that kind of interesting.
But then a dark...
I like that they've also, just a side note here, I like that they've gone with this Cobra aesthetic for the Fell Dragon this time, but it looks a little like awkward when it's flying. Like it doesn't look as intimidating as like Grima from Fire Emblem Awakening. Grima was like this huge dragon in the sky with just a bunch of like crap going on. And this thing looks like it kind of struggles to even fly and shoot a blast out of its mouth. Ready?
presence emerged.
Like its head is just so big and unwieldy. Like that blast doesn't look all that scary. I don't know. A lot of people were memeing that this character kind of sounds like Sauron. I think they say like Samron. Actually, let's see if they have the closed captioning here. I don't know if that's going to be a thing or not. Yeah, it doesn't seem to have that particular part. It's either like Sombron or Samron or something like that. But people were pointing out that there's some like kind of funny, subtle-ish Lord of the Rings potential tie-ins there or something.
Marth.
So what I find interesting about this particular part, and then I'm going to check chat again, this looks to me like Alear falling into some sort of red fog or darkness. I don't know if this is linked to a scene later where we get to see like an evil Alear, or if this potentially is like what makes Alear go to sleep in the past, like being enveloped in this. And you can see the ring falling as well. We also see a scene later that's not animated the same way as this, of this ring, and I believe this is Marth's ring, if I'm not mistaken. We see this ring falling onto the floor, so I don't know if that's also a continuation of this scene as well. So maybe Alear does not wake up with Marth's ring, but somehow gets it. and then remembers that it is Marth's ring and then is able to use Marth's ring. So I find that kind of an interesting conundrum as well. Let's see what you guys are saying here, and let me make sure the stream is going pretty well. What's up, guys? Hope you're having a happy Wednesday. If you're just joining in, let's see. Lou Emblem says, Alear is Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's the rings thing, too. We got the bad guy, Samron, or Sauron, and we have the Lord of the Rings, of course, naturally. So, I mean, I guess that makes sense. I hope this isn't just a black screen when I keep jumping away from this, but I think it might be. It's kind of annoying. But we'll go back to that in a second. Let me just see. Mary Sue says, yo, is that Alear's dad? Oh, that would be interesting. I guess that could be kind of a twist if since Alear is, yeah, there's definitely something I want to talk about later in terms of Alear's hair color, because we see Alear going evil, and I think unless it's just the lighting of that particular scene, I think Alear's hair goes completely red, and we see Marth going evil, and Marth's hair goes from blue to red. Side note, really weird point is that if Roy goes evil, is his hair going to go blue? Are we inverting the red and the blue at every potential opportunity? Because I kind of hope that's the case. That could be kind of interesting. I've already seen some people posting some fan art on Twitter of that, of like what would happen if the Roy one goes evil. Yeah, so that's a good question though. Like, is Alear then the offspring of like both? And that's why we have this kind of crazy split hair color thing going on that so many people are kind of upset about and like making the comments about how terrible the design is this time around. Maybe there's more of a specific plot reason for that, and perhaps in the next Fire Emblem game we won't get such a crazy Yu-Gi-Oh-esque hair split. Roy the Boy says, I also heard someone. I guess that's possible, but the way that the emphasis to me sounded like they were trying to say a name. So I saw Chip earlier. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I also got affiliate status on Twitch, but I've not implemented any cool channel points things yet. I'm still learning how to do that and kind of deciding what I want to do with it. So I apologize for that. Moving forward in the future, I think it'll be more fun to watch the stream on Twitch, because stuff like that where you can directly interact with the stream I think will be really fun. So I really intend on doing that because there's a lot of cool stuff you could do with that. What's up, Razeco? Razeco says, I'm pretty hype about the game. I think IS is going to surprise us with the story. I really hope so. I hope so. Because we have like a very generic kind of blank canvas here. So I would hope that they break the mold a little bit. So Amanda Green says, Celica kind of has red hair too to join Roy. Yeah, I wonder if Celica would get blue hair. I kind of hope they go all out with that, because otherwise that stinks. Like Roy is like only good based on like the color of his armor, that it's like more blue and not red. And then if someone evil uses the Roy ring, he's just all red. That's kind of silly. So, all right, let's keep going here. Back to this. So, I mean, my assumption so far with this particular scene is there's got to be some reason why Alear goes to sleep, and that motherly figure seemed to know that Alear would lose their memories by doing it. So maybe she did something to him, or I should say them, because it could be a girl Alear as well. Yeah, so something's going to happen here, and this kind of looks like that to me. And the ring being separated here kind of makes me think it connects to a scene later where the ring falls onto the floor. So let's keep going.
What was I like?
So here's the sounding board scene. We could see Alear. Maybe this is a specific story moment here because they're not in the actual home base. The name is escaping me off the top of my head. I think it was revealed in one of the first in the first trailer. The name of it was like up in the corner or something. So whether or not when you actually talk to the ring characters in the home base, it actually does anything like special or not remains to be seen. Maybe it's just kind of like throwaway dialogue, but the rings seem to serve a deeper story purpose of Alear trying to remember more about the past.
What was I like? Well, you were kind, as you are now.
This part here looks like this has that same kind of rocky cliff backdrop. I think based on some of the scenes that we see later here in this trailer, it seems to me like Alear is going to get attacked maybe by the corrupted, and then Alear gets saved by the new Dragon Lolly girl character. We saw a scene in the first trailer where I think Alir is either getting saved or witnessing a dragon flying in front of them. And to me, although we have no confirmation yet, that seems to me to be the girl behind the tree, who we'll get to see later in this as well. But this seems like another piece of that scene. And this also looks like a very similar spot to where Marth gets summoned. So maybe this is the problem scene that resorts to Marth being summoned into the world.
No need to remember.
Here's the dragon lolly behind the tree. I don't know that last part we just saw is actually connected to this in terms of like the backgrounds do look a little bit different. But clearly there's a scene there where Marth gets summoned, so there's a purpose with that. And we do also see, I think it's a little bit more connected to this background later, but Alir looks to be getting attacked by some of the corrupted enemies and saved by the dragon lolly, I think.
Everything at once.
In this scene, we have Alfred. So Alfred's running in here, and this is a very familiar, based on all the scenes in this trailer, this background is really familiar. I don't know if this is supposed to represent like some part of the temple. So in the Japanese Fire Emblem Twitter account that's been tweeting out character details, in some of the character detail reveals, it said that Alir has slept in the Holy Land of Lithos, and that's where that, I don't know if it's the Divine Dragon Tower or something like that, but Alir is asleep in this special place guarded by Divine Dragon Guardians, which are Vander and Fram and Cram. So I don't know if this is supposed to be that same place. Maybe this is a part of that temple. This is a nighttime scene. We've also seen from the Twitter character reveals, there is a scene where Alfred meets the awakened Alir for the first time. And Alfred is with Adi and Boucheron. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a French name. Boucheron. It's the guy with the really little head. That personally is my least favorite design so far. We could talk about that later if you want to. But in that particular scene, there's a very similar background behind Alfred. And unless Alir travels to this temple and that's where Alir meets Alfred for the first time, it's unclear exactly where this is going to be. But this temple backdrop is like really important because we see it a lot, not even just in this particular scene. So this is at nighttime, and we see Alfred rushing in here. Alfred, if I'm not mistaken, is the crown prince of the kingdom of Firene. In the first trailer, I wasn't quite sure how to pronounce it, so I called it Firene. But it's Firene. That seems to be one of the earlier kingdoms that you'll interact with in terms of its characters. But there's no specific sign of what exactly Alfred is rushing in here to help with. But
Divine One?
This could potentially be Alfred's like introduction scene in the game as well, before he officially meets Alir afterwards. Maybe this is like early morning, and then the daylight kind of comes in afterwards, or whatever they defeat, the darkness kind of dissipates and it gets brighter. Because like I said, the background seems to be the same from the Alir Alfred introduction scene where they actually speak. It's just darker here in this particular shot.
Will you help us?
And the voiceover seems to be Alfred talking to Alir as well. Here's Celine. We could see Celine here in the actual town area with those Holland-like windmills. I think we kind of knew that she was involved in that particular area because some of her battle footage showed her on some of the maps with the windmills. But it's nice to see that there's like further confirmation here of whatever that place is with the windmills. We're going to see Celine here at some point. Unless that's just like a generic town aesthetic, but we don't know that yet. So
Please, come with me to Firene.
This scene kind of makes me laugh. I mean, it's beautiful, but it really looks almost like a fish out of the water kind of scene. Like Alir here has just woken up and is like, wow, look at the modern marvels of architecture and the weird windmills or something. It probably has nothing to do with that at all, but it just looks kind of funny. It's like Alir is like dumbfounded by like the view here or something. But that also kind of begs the question of like, would you really be that surprised if you woke up 1,000 years in the future and like technology really hadn't like actually progressed at all? Because like I'd imagine they probably had similar looking buildings and stuff when Alir was alive 1,000 years in the past. Fire Emblem never gets into like technology or like any sort of modern dabblings, so it's just permanently like medieval-esque. So I just think it's kind of funny. But just the way that this shot is framed, unless somebody just flew overhead, maybe the dragon girl, she's like leaving or something, I just think the framing of this is kind of funny, and it makes Alear look like, oh my god, like what is this? Like what are these spinny things? These spinny blades of doom? Like I'm gonna die.
An alliance with Brodia took some doing.
So here we can see some characters from the nation known as Brodia. This seems to be the place that has the Sylvain-looking character as the crown prince. And we've got some characters here. This girl on the left, the blonde, appears to be Citrine. We saw her in the first trailer in the outfit customization screen. She looks to be a mage character. Not that that's very surprising, because she kind of looks like a blonde version of Priscilla from Fire Emblem 7, who was a troubadour. So not much of a stretch there. Then we have this girl here in the middle, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't think we've seen this girl at all, even in the leaks. I'd have to go back and look at all the character portraits specifically from the leaks, but she seems new to me. I don't think we've seen her before. So this seems to be some characters from Brodia. We also have this this blue-haired guy over here to the right who's clearly supposed to be an archer. And we find out through the voice over here that this is the Kingdom of Strength or something like that. But this guy, I want to draw some attention to this particular character here. We don't know anything specific about them, but they show up in a weird scene later that I'm kind of surprised that this one, out of anybody that could be in the scene, I'm surprised that this character is there. So we're going to get to that, but I don't know what that means in terms of this person's significance. Because if these are like the retainers to that Sylvain-esque character, whose name I don't think we know yet, I don't get why the rest of them aren't there in that scene. So hold on a second, we'll get there.
Their king's an ambitious man.
Brodia, the Kingdom of Might.
Kingdom of Might.
I greet you as the Crown Prince of Brodia.
Solm is an open-minded...
So here's the Sylvain-looking guy I was talking about. We also get to see his father later. In the first trailer, I couldn't tell if the father maybe was going to be like an evil character or not, but I think it's pretty clear from what we see later on in this trailer that the father appears to be fighting the Elusians, and the Elusians seem to be the evil nation of Fire Emblem Engage. So I think maybe this is the closest nation to the nation of Elusia, and they're going to be probably fighting the full-scale war, and this is also the Kingdom of Might, so that kind of makes sense. But if those three characters are supposed to be this guy's retainers, I find it interesting where that blue-haired guy shows up later, so let's keep going.
Solm is an open-minded country.
So here's Solm. I don't know if that's S-O-L-N. Like I said, unfortunately, the closed captioning is not great on this video, so we'll have to wait till official reveals to know for sure. But this appears to be the Desert Kingdom. We have the darker-skinned characters here, this dancer girl in particular, and the guy who kind of looks and is a little bit reminiscent of Claude. It seems like one of the main story elements of this game, I mean, the characters on the cover are clearly very important, and the characters on the cover are Alfred, Abby, who we've yet to talk about tonight in this stream, but she's coming up later in the trailer. Then we have this girl. We have the Sylvain-looking guy, and there might even be one other person. And clearly it's supposed to be like a representative of like each of the major kingdoms. So clearly there's going to be some element of the story where Alear travels from kingdom to kingdom, recruits a bunch of people, maybe helps out in that area, and then moves on to the next. Something along those lines, I would say, because we seem to be getting introduction scenes for a lot of these different places. And this particular scene, so this is a CG animated cutscene, which all of these look really beautiful, by the way. This is not like the in-game engine graphics. This is a pre-done cutscene, and this is them like cooking at a campfire. So I find that to be kind of a weird scene that you'd like prioritize like from a CG perspective. Unless that's like the character introduction scene, right? Like, why else would you animate this like to such a beautiful degree? But let's watch it. You'll see what I mean.
They've always had good relations with Villainous.
I hope you're hungry for fun, because that's what's on the menu first.
So like this, we just jumped. Now this is more of like the in-game graphics, but you could see, obviously, like that's like really good-looking graphics, and we're clearly in the deserty place here. The voiceover talks about how Villainous has a good relation to this sand nation. But like I was saying, I find it really strange that we're getting a whole CG animated cutscene of this girl cooking at a campfire, unless like this is that character's introduction in the game. So just my 2 cents on that one. Then we have the Claude looking guy who's very self-confident. He mentioned something about being lucky that you met him. So I don't know if maybe Alear's going to find some trouble in the desert and going to get rescued by these characters. Perhaps that's what happens, and maybe then Alir is treated to a nice campfire cookout.
Lucky we met, huh?
Lucky we met, huh? Here's another continuation of that scene from the first trailer. This is in this icy, snowy area, which we find out later through the voiceover is Eleusia. And these appear to be soldiers of the nation of Brodia, the Kingdom of Might, fighting against them. And we see the king on the battlefield as well in a little bit here.
I take it Eleusia isn't in the Alliance.
We know it's snowy there.
So Eleusia is snowy. They're not in the Alliance. So they're the one, seemingly, as far as we know, the one kingdom that is not a part of the Alliance that the other ones are together with. So naturally, they're the evil bad guy kingdom. And this is the guy from the first trailer. We'll talk about him more as well. He's the one, he has a ring, and in the first trailer, we saw him kind of fidgeting, like putting it on.
With long winters.
Clearly like the evil Garnef kind of character of this game, if you ask me.
Some illusion.
So this is a really interesting scene. This is what I was talking about before. This is some kind of like, it almost reminds me of the cathedral area of Fire Emblem Three Houses. It's some kind of chapel. It's not clear to me yet. I haven't analyzed this particular logo that's on this banner in the background here. I don't know if this is a shrine to the evil fell dragon or if this is bad guys infiltrating a good divine dragon shrine. That's something that I need to look a little bit further into, maybe beyond this stream. But if you look closely here, we have that same bad guy from Eleusia. Let me see. Can you see my mouse? You guys able to see my mouse on this? Let's see. Yeah, I think you should be able to. Let me know if you can't see it. I think you should be able to. But basically, down at the bottom here, we have that same bad guy from Eleusia, clearly the evil Garnef type character. To his right, we have the Candyland-looking clown girl who is probably some kind of evil enemy general from Eleusia. We'll talk about her in a little bit because we get to see a better shot of her. But as far as Alir and who's with Alir in this scene, I find it really kind of odd who they've chosen to show here. We have Alfred, who makes sense because he seems like he's one of Alir's earlier allies in the story, and he's obviously a prince of Firene, so he kind of represents that kingdom. We've got Emblem Marth because that's who Alir's got the ring for. Then we have the Sylvain lookalike guy, the Prince of Brodia. And then we have his, who I would assume to be his retainer, that blue-haired archer guy, if I'm not mistaken. So he's got this weird like red thing on his back and a blue lower cape. I'm going to go back here and see if it is in fact the same dude. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely him. He's got this blue thing. He seems to have something on his back.
Brody.
Yeah, he's got this like tufted thing, although we don't see his arrows in that scene, his quiver. Maybe this guy has more significance than we know so far, but like if these three are the Prince of Brodia's retainers or like his men, his people, why is only this archer guy shown in that scene? And why doesn't Alfred have like his two retainers shown in that scene? So I don't know, I'm really intrigued by that. I find that kind of strange who we're showing here and why. Because why only one retainer and why not any of Alfred's people? Just something interesting to chew on. I'm sure it'll all make sense when the game comes out, obviously, but in trying to piece all these scenes together, I find that interesting because you'd think that Alir would probably have 80 and Boucheron or whatever his name is recruited at this point as well. And if the blue-haired archer dude is here, where are the other two? Where's Citrine and where's the pink-haired girl? You know. And if you're only going to show, like, if this was a main cutscene, you'd think that they would only show main characters, right? So like Alfred and the Sylvain lookalike guy. But then why is the blue-haired archer here? I don't know. That's interesting to me. So
Worship the fell dragon.
then we get this shot here. I don't think I've quite placed where this takes place, but once again, we do have the archer guy here. So this must be in Brodia somewhere, right? And maybe they're being infiltrated by the Eleusian soldiers. Then we have this main chick here. This is the girl that we just saw in that chapel scene. Very, if you ask me, reminiscent of a Candyland kind of character. She looks like she's the some kind of peppermint licorice type girl or something. I'm sure she'd fit right in on that game board if you went back and played that. I'll be honest, I don't hate her design. It's definitely very clownish and quite weird, but I don't hate it so far. I'm intrigued. And then it's unclear so far, but it appears that maybe she has 2 retainers or 2 allies helping her here. There's a really cute brunette character here that I kind of hope is recruitable, because I like the look and the style of that character. And then there's a girl over here wielding an axe, and she has very Camilla-esque curls to her hair, which is kind of interesting. So the Camilla, the sort of violet Camilla hair with the curls and the axe is pretty telling. And then she's got like something on her head that almost looks like cat ears and like a ribbon in the back. So interesting.
Come a little closer. I'll give you a good long look.
Now we have Abby. So Abby is a character we've known about for a long time. Abby was revealed in the original leaks. We saw her character portrait and her sprite. So she is some kind of a wyvern mounted mage character, some kind of like Dark Flyer-esque character here. And what we find out in this particular scene is that she actually starts off evil. So I'm gonna let this play and then we'll come back and we'll talk about that.
I will now take your lives, your souls, and the rings.
So I find that really interesting. So we know from the leaks already that this character is going to be a recruitable character. We saw her in the actual support screen. So I think the character, either Mobu or Vander, had a support with her. I think it's probably Mobu. And it seems that this character is from Illusia, supposedly. She has this kind of rose and thorn kind of aesthetic to her, which I find pretty cool and interesting. And considering the fact that she is on the cover of the game, she's obviously going to be a pretty big deal. So my working theory on her is perhaps she's actually from the Kingdom of Illusia and is somebody important there, but somehow over the course of events in the story, you're going to convince her to join your side. But she's going to take some serious convincing, I would think, here, because she wants to not only kill you, but also take your souls and your rings. Not even just take your rings or kill you. She wants the soul too. I find a little excessive, but pretty interesting there. I'll let that play one more time.
I will now take your lives, your souls, and the rings.
So I don't know. I find that intriguing. Then we have this scene here. Once again, this is that evil-looking Garnef type character. It appears to be in that same sort of chapel scene that we saw them all standing in earlier. However, this time, if you look in front of them, we have this Sauron Fell Dragon character. So I don't know if that implies that this dude just summoned him and woke him up somehow or freed him. Whatever binded him in the past and has been undone in order for him to be awake. Maybe this is that first scene where that is accomplished. Because we hear also in the voiceover that we'll play in a second here, talking about how he's not at his full strength yet. So maybe, he's just been reborn or brought back and needs to gain and accrue power somehow. What is interesting, though, is this character has some really funky looking legs and feet. Ready for this?
He is not yet
Right there.
at full strength.
It's got some like Corrin, almost like Corrin-esque animal legs, like a dog leg.
Not yet.
It's got like a funny little curve to it, which I find pretty strange. But I mean, he is some kind of weird Fell Dragon character, so I guess that kind of makes sense. I'll let the audio play in its totality, though.
He is not yet at full strength.
So this appears to be the king of Brodia. He's on the battlefield, like I said. We saw a better shot of him, I think, from the first trailer. I don't know that they show it again here in this one at any point in time. But clearly he's actually fighting on the battlefield with his men against Illusia. This appears to be the hand of the Garnef-esque character we keep talking about. And this character is holding his sword. And we don't see exactly what happens like after this moment right now, but there's another cut of it interspersed later in the trailer where we can see that this evil Garnef character has Lin's ring, and an evil Lin appears to attack the King of Brodia. So in this scene, it's unclear once again like where we are in time, but once again you can see those same familiar pillars here in the background that we talked about earlier with Alfred. Maybe Alfred is about to swoop in at this moment and save Valir from this character. Maybe that's what the Alfred clip from earlier was from. Let me go back and we'll just find that really quick. Because it looks pretty, like literally right behind this character is that hallway that we saw Alfred running from, or like close enough looking.
Divine One, will you help us?
So maybe this is Alir's like Deus Ex Machina here, as Alfred comes to save them from this evil demon mage lolly girl, whoever this is. We get a up close shot of this character in a second. After this,
My kingdom has another emblem ring in its possession.
there's the Lin ring.
Well-
Yeah. So here's that character. I don't think we see them anywhere else unless this is that same clown girl, but I feel like they look smaller than that girl. So
Isn't this tragic?
I also want to point out here too, it happens really fast. There's a bunch of scenes. Once again, this looks like similar to the scene that Marth gets summoned during. So clearly some kind of conflict is going to happen here, and maybe that prompts Alir to need to use the ring. We'll see, I think, one more shot of this later that's a little bit more telling than this. But we'll keep going.
Emblem ring
And this appears to be the Lin ring, because this is the same guy that summons Lin in a little bit.
in its possession. Well, isn't this tragic?
This appears, once again, I think, to be either the same or a very similar environment as that other dragon chapel, because we have this kind of purple and light green stained glass here in the background. They do mention it being a castle in the voiceover, so that's kind of interesting. Maybe it's like a really important, like, divine dragon castle where the fell dragon's been sealed away. Maybe this is all in the Holy Land of Lithos. It's very unclear. I do want to point out here, though, the character on the far right, we have a character called Mobu. According to the leaks, his name could end up being different, but also from the leaks, I mean, this seems right here like a group of bad guys. It's not clear. They could be good, but they just look a little too intense to be good right off the bat. So it's pretty questionable. And also we have this like crescent moon horn situation going on this chick. And they talk about killing everyone in the castle. So I can't imagine they're good guys with good intentions. But once again, the same way with Abby, we've got Mobu here, and we know for certain that Mobu is recruitable from the leaks, because this was one of the first characters we ever saw from this supposed Fire Emblem game. So back before we knew that the leaks were real. So maybe that's why he has a support with Abby, because they're both like ex-enemy characters, and maybe they can kind of bond and have a conversation about that. That's my 2 cents on that one, as far as like why they both showed up in each other's support chain, and the fact that they both seemingly are from enemy nations. We have evil Linhardt over here. He's looking kind of edgy and kind of funny.
By virtue of your science, we will now kill every living soul in this castle one by one.
I find what she says kind of interesting. I don't know if I'm hearing it wrong, but it sounds like she says, by virtue of your science or signs. I don't know. Let me play that one more time and you can let me know what you think. And then let me go to chat and see what you guys are saying here.
By virtue of your science.
By virtue of your science? Either way, I don't know why they want to kill everyone in the castle, but they're pretty mad. Something has upset them deeply. Let's see what you guys are talking about over here. Let's see. Mage Knight Blazer says, so I'm guessing that Dragon Mage Girl is a Minerva type character. That could be. Okay says Fire Emblem Awakening 2.0. I mean, there's definitely, with the whole Fell Dragon aesthetic coming back, there's definitely some good tie-in there. A lot of tie-in happening, so for sure. Anthony Toledo says, so Lin kills him, yeah? We don't know that. It's very possible. Fire Emblem is not very kind to father characters. So yeah, I'd imagine the King of Brodia probably does die after that scene. Amanda says, Manny Caddy, RIP, only bow. Yeah, a lot of people were talking about the fact that Lin looks to be using the Mulagir, which was a bow, I think, just created for her appearance in Heroes as, was it Brave Lin? I'll get to that part and then we'll check chat again. But since we're talking about it, we might as well go to that scene.
We will now kill every living soul in this castle one by one. I detest violence.
So once again, here's that part. Actually, I want to talk a long time about that. So let me just go ahead. Let's find that other part where we see the King of Brodia about to get wreckled right here. So we could see the evil Garnaf character has grabbed his sword and kind of immobilized him. And then uses the ring clearly to summon Lin. Lin appears to be using the Mulagir bow. But like we said earlier, it's not that like RIP Manny Caddy or anything, because we've seen from some of the gameplay footage that they've released so far, that the actual ring characters can have different weapons. We've seen Sigurd with both a lance and also with his classic turfing sword, or tierfing, however you want to pronounce it. So it's very possible that Lyn could both have the bow and also the Mani-Katti. And maybe they just wanted to, for variety's sake, kind of pick a bow for her and an axe for Ike and stuff, just so that there's a bit more weapon variety than just slapping swords on everybody like they tend to have. Yeah, so maybe that's why they chose like Brave Ike for the whole mural thing that we saw in the first trailer. But yeah, I'd say the King of Brodia does not have very good odds here of surviving this.
You think? Not by a lot.
Considering her arrow is aimed like right at his head, that's a pretty, like, she's an archer. She's from the Sakaean Plains. Like, I don't think she's gonna miss that shot, if you know what I'm saying. Let's go back to chat though for a second here. What's up, Methodius? Welcome. Methodius says, Emblem Lyn is going to gush over Alear because they remind her of Mark in-game, right? It's practically required at this point. Yeah, people are kind of been wondering, like, since Alear is going to have that whole protagonist vibe, if they're going to treat Alear the same way they treated characters like Mark. Mark was the tactician character from Fire Emblem 7 on the Game Boy Advance that you played as, who, that was a really interesting way that they implemented the whole tactician, integrated you into the story, basically. Like, you were the tactician for the army. You actually had a little sprite that appeared on the map, and the character portraits in that game actually turned to look at you when they were specifically addressing you, which is a really cool little touch. But aside from that, you know, there was no playable main character the way that we have like Byleth, Corrin, Robin, and now Alear. So just interesting. But yeah, I'm sure there's going to be parallels between, like, hey, you kind of remind me of the main character tactician dude from my game, of course, because I mean it's been you the whole time. It's always you playing them, so of course it would remind them of the other ones. Okay, says, do you think there will be a character from every game as a ring? Yeah, we've seen 12 rings. It covers like the 12 main games, right? If we have to count this out. So Marth's games are 1 and 3. So there's that. Then we have the Celica ring for Fire Emblem 2. We have the Sigurd ring for Genealogy, so that's 4. And Thracia is the same universe. But I think there is a Leaf ring, isn't there? I think there is a Leaf ring. So they did do Fire Emblem 5 separately, then 4. We have the Roy ring. We have the Lyn ring for 7. We have the Erica ring for 8. We have the Ike ring for 9. I think we have, the Micaiah ring for 10. I'd have to go back and look at the mural. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Fire Emblem 11 is just Marth's game remade, so nothing there. Fire Emblem 12 is Marth's second game remade. Fire Emblem 3 remade, so nothing there. Fire Emblem 13 is Awakening, and we have the Lucina ring. And then we have the Corrin ring for Fire Emblem 14, and Echoes was 15. So that's a remake of Fire Emblem 2. So nothing new with that one. And then we have from Fire Emblem 16, 3 houses, we have Byleth, and there is a Byleth ring. So not counting the remakes, those 12 do represent all of the other games, the main games in the series. The real question is, like, are we going to see more rings via DLC, or is that just going to be it? Not that I would expect them to put like every lord from every game or anything. I don't think you should get your hopes up on that. It seems like they just picked like one main representative from each of the games, which I think is fine. But we can also see here, because this bad guy character has the Lyn ring, there was speculation, and even I was kind of wondering it as well from the first trailer, like, are the bad guys going to have their own rings where like it summons like Garneth or like Medius or something like that, and it's like all the bad guys from across the series? Because I think there could have been a lot of potential there with that. I think that could have been really fun, where it's like your good guy rings against the bad guy rings, and then it's like this ultimate Fire Emblem like epic series-wide brawl of everybody fighting, you know, the battle to end all battles across the entire series. I guess kind of similar to like something that would happen in like Fire Emblem Heroes, but more specific and actually in a main game. So that could have been cool. Doesn't seem like it's going to be the case, because the bad guys here so far are shown using a Lyn ring in this specific example. So it seems like I'd imagine the other 11 rings throughout the game are going to be in the possession of either somebody evil or, you know, maybe it's like a treasure somewhere and you have to go like help that kingdom or save them or something, and they'll give you the treasure, which is the ring. So Alir's going to have to collect 11 more. And it seems like the bad guys, anybody who has a ring that's a bad guy, is probably just going to have an evil version of, you know, the good character ring. So I don't know if that's a little disappointing. I guess it'll remain to be seen. I just think it could have been kind of fun too if, like, you know, you have your good guy rings, and the good guy rings are all the lords from the series, and then the bad guys have bad guy rings, and they have the bad guys from the series. I just think like the potential there was kind of fun sounding to me, but maybe that's a lot of work for like little return. Because if you can't use the bad guy rings too, then why 3D model every single main villain from throughout the series? Like that's a lot of work for sure. And since most of them are dragons, there's a lot of like extra modeling with that as well. So I guess it does make sense why bad guys would just have, you know, their corrupted evil versions of the main lord rings. So bad guys don't like to put their soul pieces in rings, I guess. Let's see what you guys are talking about here. Mr. Fox says, I honestly prefer this to that. Never really liked Fire Emblem villains. I guess that's fair. There would be some cool ones that would be fun to see, though, I think. Anthony says, to be honest, I forgot Kieran exists. I mean, Kieran's in that weird middle ground of, like, mobile game existence of, like, I guess they kind of exist, but I don't think there's going to be a hero's ring in this game. Like I was saying, though, I am wondering if we're going to see, like, some sort of like DLC rings that they add later of like other stuff. Like, would they throw in like a Shez ring if they had to, since they've covered like the main lords all across the series? I kind of doubt that we would get more lords from those same games. That seems kind of redundant, right? And then if you did like a new lord from each game as DLC, that's 12 more rings. That seems excessive to me. I don't think they would do that, but I do wonder if we'll see DLC with this game. Would they do that? Would they add more DLC rings? Maybe. Who knows? I mean, Anna is a playable character this time from what we know from the leaks. So like, I don't think you'd see like an Anna ring. But yeah, I'm sure they'll come up with something kind of interesting to do with that if they want to. So. Methodia says, imagine the backlash if the Fell Dragon summoned Edelgard for one of his rings. Yeah, that would be pretty funny, wouldn't that? I saw somebody say that some of these new characters look like, you know, kind of similar / demented versions of Edelgard, Dimitri, and Claude. And it's kind of true. I mean, we got the new darker skinned pseudo Claude character here from the Desert Kingdom. Let's find him. Where is he? I mean, he's got some Claude energy to him. Then we have Alfred, who a lot of people have compared to Dimitri, although to me he seems like definitely nowhere near as cool and as strong as Dimitri, if you ask me. Sounds a little wimpier, but and we got the Alfred Dimitri-esque character here. And we didn't get there later in the trailer yet, though, but there is some kind of armored female blonde character that looks kind of like Claire from Fire Emblem Echoes. And people were saying that she's kind of like Edelgard, which I think is pretty funny. Let's see if I could find it. It must be like really quick. Maybe it's like right here. Oh yeah, it's gonna be in here somewhere. We haven't seen this yet, so I'm gonna go back. But
Still,
that character. So it looks like Claire like wearing armor, like she became an armored knight. But people were saying that's like this game's version of Edelgard or something, which I find that to be pretty funny. So let me check chat a little bit more here, and then we'll get back to it. Anthony Toledo says, personally, I like that there are only 12 rings. This is an anniversary title, so one rep from each game is fair to me. Yeah, I think that's fair. Marth Pikazu 9. Was that a 9? I can't. Oh, Pikazool X. Marth Pikazool X says, but where is the ring to rule them all? And the ring to bind them, I don't know. That's a good question. Raul says, I wonder about the order of the kingdoms in the story. That's a good question. I think it's safe to say that Firene is going to be the first one. Once we go through this trailer, I'm going to go back to the first trailer, and we'll go through that again with our newly refined eyes. But I do want to look at the mural, and I want to look at the world map again, because I feel like maybe there's some more hints there for us now that now that we understand a little bit more about the situation. But it seems a safe bet, I think, to say that Firene is going to be first. Maybe you even start off in Firene. I know Alir wakes up in Lithos, which I don't think we know exactly where that is yet, but it might be that central thing on the map. And I think Firene is like over to the right. So maybe somehow we travel there or end up there. But I think it's safe to say Firene is first. And then it's a question of whether or not it's Brodia or the Sandy Kingdom, what is it, Solm? SOLM or something. We don't have an official name, I don't think, for that one yet. So Lucas in writing says the game has been done for over a year, so you never know. Yeah, there were a lot of people that were poo-pooing the theories that, or that one of the leakers said the game has been done for over a year. And there were so many people that were like, they would never do that. They would never like be done with the game and sit on it for a year and not release it. And it's like, guys, with the whole COVID situation happening, the pandemic, like there were like weird delays for like everything. So like, yeah, they're probably like really ahead of schedule with this. They probably have been sitting on this game for over a year. I mean, this was supposed to be the 30th anniversary entry of the series. And if you recall I don't know if you could see it, but I got the 30th anniversary special edition that they released of the first game, localized it for the first time ever officially, Fire Emblem 1 from the NES for the Switch. I mean, that came out a while ago. The 30th anniversary was a while ago, and this is supposed to be the 30th anniversary game, so this is late. This is clearly probably later than they anticipated for it to come out. So what this means, though, is that like maybe we've gone through a lot of the significant waiting since Three Houses now, and maybe once this game comes out, they'll be even closer to whatever follows this game coming out soon after that. So maybe we're looking at like over the next couple of years, like numerous Fire Emblem games. And if you ask me, I'm pretty sure a Genealogy remake is going to be one of those titles. So I'm pretty stoked about that. I hope they give Genealogy the Echoes treatment, and I hope people love it. So I hope people like this game too. I mean, let's be very clear. I hope this is an awesome game. Mary Sue says, it's so cool to see these types of things where people say the leaks are fake, but then it all turns out to actually be real. I know. When the leaks happened, I asked myself, like, do I really want to cover this? Because I've covered like leaks in the past. And personally, I find it kind of fun. I think it's a fun like thought experiment to like consider what the next Fire Emblem game could look like or what the theme could be. I've got older videos on my channel of like talking about like the Vampire Emblem leak that came out years ago. I thought that was a really fun one. I didn't put a lot of stock into it at the time, but it was like fun to talk about. But the sad thing is like, you don't want to get people's hopes up if it's not real at all. So when this one came out, I was like, do I want to talk about this? And then the more that I looked at the leaked screenshots and the more that I really like thought about it and like saw the amount of effort that would have had to go into it for it to be fake, I was like, this has got to be real. Like it just, maybe we can bring those up and look at them again later in the stream. But yeah, I just kind of had this feeling of like, this seems too far for someone who's just lying to like make up and whip up, because they chose like really stupid things to show. If you were going to like fake a leak, wouldn't you show like the easiest kind of scenes that wouldn't require the most work? They literally showed us a support screen where you had to do character portraits for like at least, I don't even know the number, but like at least like 8 different characters. Like that's a lot of work when you could have just shown any other menu screen of something else and like not had to do 8 different character portraits. So like there were little details like that about it that I was like, this has got to be real, because it seemed like something that they would do with the split blue and red hair. It just didn't seem so far-fetched to me. And B, the amount of effort throughout was like, it was just too much. It had to be real to me. So I covered it, and I'm glad it, wasn't a lie or anything. So that's cool. Let's see. I hope my alerts are working, because I haven't seen anything from that. And oh yeah, we did. Yeah, so I'm sorry, they're not working. TJ Bates did actually sub with Prime, so thank you for that, TJ Bates. I appreciate that. I don't know why the alerts are not working. I'm gonna have to figure that out. But perhaps at a different time. Let me I mean, they're on and they're here, so let's get back to this though. What's up, John? John says, first stream for me. Oh, welcome, John. Hello from the deployment from the Middle East. Oh my God. Well, thank you for your service, my friend. I mean, we all appreciate you. So thank you so much. John says, best of luck with the channel. Huge Fire Emblem fan, and your channel has helped make military life more worth it. I salute you, my friend. Thank you for your service. I'm glad I am able to do anything for you at all. Because you are helping me live a free American life, and I appreciate that deeply. Amanda's saying good night. Good night, Amanda. Thank you for tuning in. Methodius is saying, male Alir reminds me of... what is that? I don't know what GOTHW is. I'm like deciphering it as like Game of Thrones, and I don't... That's not clearly not what you're talking about. And female Alir reminds me of Fates. Interesting. Oh, Genealogy of the Holy War. Male Alir reminds me of Genealogy of the Holy War, and female Alir reminds me of Fates. They definitely do something kind of interesting with the female characters. Like female Byleth and female Alir have that like rounder, softer face, and they do look quite a bit different. So I don't blame you for that one. Let's keep going here, though, and I'll check chat again.
Kill every living soul in this castle one by one. I detest.
Okay, so this scene. This is a big one I wanted to talk about. We saw Alir running down this hallway in the first trailer, and like I was saying earlier in the stream, it's definitely a very important scene, clearly. I kind of thought like maybe this would be the opening scene to the game with Alir, because it just kind of was feeling that way for me. But in this particular part, we see that all of the other main Lord... Well, not all of them. We don't see all of them, but we see other main Lord characters that Alir ends up recruiting in this scene. So are they showing us like an actual like late game shot here of like maybe approaching the final boss or something? Like this is interesting to me because we have the soldiers here in the background fighting the corrupted.
I detest.
We got the Prince of Brodia here fighting some. He's got the Roy ring.
Always fight to defend the.
We got Celica here. And we're cutting back to this dragon girl saving Alir from some corrupted. This is the part. So unfortunately, because this is so piecemealed here, clearly Alir is going to be approaching this town. He's going to get maybe startled, surprised by the corrupted. I think we got a couple scenes of Alir looking kind of shocked in like similar environments. I don't know if this mountain range is just behind Alir and this is the same scene. I'm not sure. But there's also another shot that we saw of a similar environment for Alir, and Alir was pretty startled looking in that one too. So clearly something's happening here. Alir seems to be, here it is. Alir seems to be pretty surprised. And in this particular case, it seems Alir is saved by the little, who I'm assuming to be is the dragon girl from the first trailer. It seems kind of like the Tiki of this game, if you will, the young Tiki. And she's shooting a fireball and saving Alir from one of the corrupted enemies. And this is... So she's going to pop out from behind this tree. I guess, Alir probably didn't see her originally. And then afterwards, clearly they're going to have some kind of conversation.
I'm just passing through.
So there's that. And she's saying, I'm just passing through.
Well, looking for someone, really.
So the question is, who's she looking for? Maybe Alir? Now we kind of do this little character run through here. So... we can see Celine in the background. We got, what is his name? Louis, the armor knight guy here, who looks like Kellum and Stahl had a baby. And then we have Chloe. I think that's how you pronounce it. There's an accent on the E. It's French. I'm not entirely certain how to pronounce it. I'm going to say Chloe. I don't know if that's right or not. Then here's a new character we have not seen before. And I don't think that this is Anna. Like, she's got the hair color and maybe the bangs of Anna. I'd have to look. I mean, I guess it could be. You know what? Let's I'm sorry to pause again here, but I'm going to bring up that leaked shot. Can you see this now? You can. Okay. Let me import that leaked screenshot. I guess I should say potential spoiler warning because it's a leaked screenshot, but not that we can gain a lot from it. It just kind of shows some little sprites and a poorly translated Japanese support conversation screen. But if you want to go completely blind into the game, then maybe you don't want to look at this screenshot. But it's like I said, it's really not the end of the world. I just want to compare this girl here to the Anna sprite from that shot. And we know that it's Anna because somebody, the translation of the name roughly localized was Anna. Let's see. I got to find it. New Fire Emblem leak. Here we go. So this is the one. It is huge. I got to make it smaller. So bear with me. I need to have some music in the background here. Hold on a second. Yeah, I'm sorry there's no music when we're not doing anything. Let's go. Go with the seasonal background music. I might have put like a cave Halloween theme in this one, and I haven't updated it yet, but we're going to do that. It might be kind of strange. I apologize, but at least there's like something more than silence and my voice to listen to then for you. And it sounds kind of like RuneScape music, which is pretty interesting. So here's this leaked shot. Let me put this below everything else. Okay, so at the bottom here, we can see what looks to be Anna. Although, if you ask me, I think she's got a ponytail situation going on. We could also see Celine here. She's got golden-looking mage character that we got going on. And we have Alear, female Alear here, who's the WWWW name. Probably testing the character text box limits. We have Vander, and then we have Abby at the top. Abby being the mage wyvern chick. And these are Mobu's supports, like I was talking about earlier as well. I don't think that this other chick is Anna, because if that's Anna there, and she looks like kind of an axe-wielding bandit-looking kind of character, I don't think that's who this is. But that was interesting to take a closer look at. All right, sorry, I'm pausing the music again because we're going to go back to the trailer. I'm seeing some kind of issue here with the stream from YouTube. Let me know if we're okay, if we're doing all right. It's kind of whining at me, so I hope we're okay, because I know that's kind of annoying when it doesn't, when it gets all glitchy. So let me know. But this is interesting. She has little star things all in her hair, like those little star candy things. She definitely looking to be pretty waifu status. I think I'll leave it at that and be as tasteful as imaginable, but I'm liking her design.
Still.
We have this night-looking girl here. She appears to be in a snowy environment, so I wonder if this is like another character from Maluzia later. We've got Marth and Alear tag teaming some corrupted. So clearly whatever happens to Alear that requires Alear to be using the ring to summon Marth, you can see even that almost, it's not the same looking because this is not a CG scene. This is rendered within the actual in-game engine. So the mountain in the background doesn't look quite as good. But that's probably the same mountain range that we see behind Marth when Marth gets summoned. Like right there, right? Like it's a pretty similar looking like environment. So I could see that being the case for this shot. So it seems like Marth has appeared and he's helping Alear to clear out some of these corrupted. Maybe Alear gets assaulted on the way to the town or something.
Despite everything we're facing.
And we've got two brand new characters here. They appear to be from Solm, the Sandy Kingdom. It's unclear if these are going to be good guys or bad guys. We've seen literally nothing about them. So that's pretty interesting, but we're getting more like further and further looks from other potential characters from the game. So this guy does look kind of familiar to the right, but I don't think we've seen him anywhere. I guess I could be wrong, but we don't know a lot about them yet for sure. Once again, we're back over here. So let's pay attention to the characters fighting in the background. We have the girl from the Sand Kingdom as well, and she has the Ike ring, which, you know, if you're basing it based on their weapons, doesn't really seem like the right combination, right? So maybe anybody can use any ring, and they're just showing that, you know, the rings are distributed across Alear's army. Ike's arms, though, RIP to Ike's buff arms. I mean, what happened here? Is this the result of anime-ification of the game? Since it's, well, that's not true. I mean, there's super buff anime characters. I don't know, but this is pretty sad. Ike got a considerable downgrade to his bulk here. His muscles, they've atrophied. Emblem Ike has been dormant too long, like a genie unable to flex and stretch and lift some weights, and they've atrophied, and unfortunately he looks like kind of a weakling. And that's kind of what I was saying about Sigurd earlier on in the stream, is like, I think he should be a little bit more manly looking, and he's a little too anime, boy band looking, unfortunately. So there's a couple gripes I have with kind of the new art style there, but I think this girl, I really like this girl's design a lot. She looks very dancer-esque. So, I mean, would they make one of the main kingdom characters a dancer? I guess they could. There's nothing stopping them from doing that, but it seems a little, I guess it's different. That would be very different if they did do that. Usually they have like a more defined class, more specifically. Maybe she's not a dancer at all. I don't know, but she has that kind of dancer like aesthetic going on, if you ask me.
I think it's because
And she twirls a lot, so that helps. Alfred here has the Lucina ring.
you're here, Marth.
We can see Alir and Marth are still running past all of this, so clearly same place. Everybody's kind of fighting and helping and contributing in their own way, which leads me to believe, like, I do find it hard to believe that they would show us like such a late game cutscene in like literally the first trailer we saw part of this with him running down the hall. So like, why show that unless you just really liked that CG cutscene chunk? Or maybe this is like mid game or something. Who knows? I guess it's possible. It just really seems to me like some kind of a final push where like all the allies are here and they have all the rings and they're all fighting their own battle. And now it's Alir's time to run forward and face the fell dragon and put an end to this or something, you know? But it kind of stinks that you would show like all of that and reveal all that like so early in the trailers.
We are not going anywhere. We will.
And this particular part, like I said before as well, we'll watch the first trailer after this. But it kind of reminds me of the scene where they both open the door together. So maybe this is all part of that.
Remain by your side until the end of this journey.
Maybe that's even before their hands touch the door, probably. I'd have to check again. So we have, once again, the Garnef character here, and we have the Fell Dragon being summoned. We already saw them in that kind of dragon chapel thing together, so maybe this is just a scene that happens before that.
Silly divine dragon. Did you think emblems were just...
And then, of course, we have the shot here where he's using the ring to probably kill the King of Brodia.
the you thing? Not by a long...
This, it's unclear as to where this is. Maybe we can figure that out more from other stuff later. But I know that from the other version of this shot with Alir here, let's see, where was it? Right here looks to be like the same thing, right? Because we have this girl. Wait, that wasn't Abby, was it? Let me make sure. Let me make sure I'm not making stuff up here.
You thing? Not by a...
Yeah, so maybe that chick appears to be some kind of maybe flying mage, kind of like Abby as well, because this kind of matches her like clown aesthetic that's going on. There's also roses on her thing too, so I wonder if her and Abby are like tangentially related or something, or there's some kind of like 4 rose generals or something. Who knows? But I would put my money on. Let's go back. I'll just show you what I'm talking about. This chick here seems to have that kind of blue striped clown pattern thing going on. So maybe when you actually fight her, she flies. That seems to be
A little closer.
like here. She looks like she's mounted, right? She looks like she's maybe potentially flying on something. So I would wager to guess that that's her. In which case, these scenes are the same or connected somehow. And Alir is here with this blue-haired archer character who seems to be from the kingdom of Brodia. So maybe this is taking place within Brodia. Let's get back to where we were.
Divine dragon. Did you think emblems were just a you thing? Not by a long shot.
And clearly this girl has the Lucina ring, and we get to see evil Lucina, which is pretty interesting. I just want to mention before, in case those of you that are just joining in, I find it interesting, and I think a lot of people are wondering if the blue-haired characters have their whole vibe and hair color turn red when used by an evil bad guy, does that mean Roy's hair will turn blue? Just questions to think about. I hope that's a thing. That would be kind of funny. Imagine evil Roy finally getting to have blue hair. Because throughout the games, I mean, I like Roy and Elwood, but I feel like the red-haired lords have always gotten kind of shafted, and folks seem to treat them a bit worse, you know, in terms of their power. They don't seem to be the most powerful lords in the series, so perhaps Roy can finally have his moment as an evil, blue-haired Roy version of himself. I think that'd be kind of funny. So there's him putting on the ring. I think that's the same... Let's make sure. Yeah, I think that's the same ring from before. It's just the Lin ring, I'm pretty sure, that he's putting on. But just to ease your minds, let's look at that a little more closely. Where did we see that shot of the ring? Right here, right? Right? Yeah, definitely the same shot. So they just did a clever job. I mean, it's not really all that clever. It's just more confusing, I guess. They did a decent job of confusing you by cutting and splicing all these scenes apart, but you can kind of put them back together and get the gist of what's happening.
A long shot.
And then here we can see it's really quick, but this is happening within that same chapel. So Marth turns evil here. He becomes Red Marth, and there's obviously the Fell Dragon behind him. You can see that dragon statue in the background in the upper right, as well as the stained glass. And we can see what looks to be, this seems to be a continuation of that scene from earlier where they were all standing in the chapel together, right? Or castle, or whatever they're calling it. It looks like right here. So it seems somehow the bad guy here is going to acquire Marth's ring or corrupt Marth's ring, maybe even summon the Fell Dragon here in front of Alear and company. But this seems to be the same place as that, so find that pretty interesting. And we have evil red-haired Marth.
Marth, speak to me, please.
I think this is a red herring. It cuts to this part, and they overlay Alear, saying, Marth, speak to me, please. I don't think this is the same scene, though. This looks to me like a different moment where potentially Alear is being corrupted. And I think, if I remember right, the interesting thing, and perhaps... I think I said it earlier, but for the folks that are new to the stream right now, it's so highly debated, the whole split with Alear's hair color, with the red and the blue, and people are saying, how terrible of a design choice it is. But maybe there's actual further reasons for them doing that. Maybe it represents something deeper within the game, like for example, the good versions of the rings and the bad versions of the rings. Because now we see this shot here of seemingly of Alear being corrupted and turned evil. So I think their hair goes all red, if I'm correct, if I remember right. It looks to. So this is Alear here. Seems to be evil Alear. So is this like something in the past or another timeline again? Like, who knows, right? But this is pretty interesting. And the voiceover here talks about how all of your friends are dead. So is this the evil like Garnaf character or the Fell Dragon himself character, like speaking to Alear, saying like, hey, you slept for thousands of years, your friends are dead, like why do you care to fight for these other people? Like they're not your people. I don't know.
Everyone you care about, they are all dead.
So I mean, I think you can kind of tell. I don't think the hair looks split. Yeah, the hair doesn't look split anymore. I mean, there should be blue strands in here, and they're not anymore. So maybe it represents some kind of duality within Alear. And what I also find interesting too is that early on, I think it's this exact spot right here, that mother figure, this who I assume is this dragon, unless this is that little girl, and this is the same. Maybe this is the same scene from the first thing, isn't it? Just more intensely lit, because you could see that weird tower castle thing in the background. We'll talk about that after. But this kind of Mother Mikoto character here that entrusts Alear with the ring and the mission, she says something about use your divinity to overcome. Like let's listen to that one more time.
You must fight on with the utmost divinity.
You must fight on with the utmost divinity. So does that have to do with this part here, where Alear has seemingly been corrupted? Is this fighting with the opposite of divinity, with corruption? And that's what the red part of Alear represents. Maybe Alear is some kind of like balance. Some of you guys in the chat earlier were speculating maybe Alear is like some kind of weird offspring between like the good and the bad. Maybe the Fell Dragon is like part of you once again, but also so is like Naga, the good dragon, or whoever that character is in this world. And maybe that's the reason for the weird half and half split. I mean, maybe that's what's going on here. And maybe that will explain this so out there character design choice. And perhaps people will be cooler with that once they know that from the story. We'll have to see. I find that pretty interesting.
Everyone you care about.
Not to cut it off again, but here's that ring. Marth's, what I think is Marth's ring dropping here. And this is what I was talking about earlier. We've got this shot from the beginning of the trailer. Where is it? Which to me seems like what happens to Alear to maybe make Alear sleep for 1,000 years or whatever it will be. This right here, Alear like vanishing into a red cloud, and the ring is separate from Alear.
What was I?
So maybe Alear vanishes or something, and then the ring drops on the floor. Or maybe this is just a different scene and somebody drops the ring somehow. I don't know. Who knows?
Everyone you care about. They are all dead.
And that is that, though, for this new trailer. So I'd say we were able to glean a good amount from it. I'd say that's a fair amount of stuff going on here. And like I said, we're going to go and look at the other one as well. But I'd love to know your thoughts. Has this made you more excited for the game or not? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we are like pretty much nearly exactly 2 months out from this game's release. I think it's at the end of January, if I'm not mistaken. So we're getting pretty close here. And I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Edgardo says, nope, it's illegal now. I guess that kind of works, doesn't it? Alex says, Alear has both good and evil tendencies, yin and yang. Yeah, probably. We just realized like we're like super zoomed out here, aren't we? Got cutting off Pikachu a little bit there in the background. There we go. What's up, Tristan? Tristan says, I have work in the morning, but have a great night and have a great weekend. Thank you, Tristan. Thank you for all your support, my friend. I appreciate you. Fred says, Aleval perfection. I guess it's got to be a thing now, right? Lucas in writing says 64 days. I'm not counting. I swear. That is awesome. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I mean, I don't blame you. It's been 3 years since Three Houses. And I have to be honest. I mean, I'm still enjoying Three Houses. I've taken like big, long breaks in between playing Three Houses. But like, I love that game so much that I could definitely wait a little bit longer. But I am definitely excited as well. It does put me on a bit of a timer, though, because if I want to stream Engage when that comes out, that means that stuff like Three Houses Maddening, I've got like T-minus 2 months to do what I want to do with that, or hiatus it and come back in the future, but that kind of stinks, doesn't it? The Coconut says, more excited. That's awesome. Fred says, I'm a simple man. I'm more excited with this one. I mean, I have to say, even if you hate the character design of a lot of things, like the visuals look so good in this game for at least the cutscenes. Fire Emblem has had pretty good cutscenes for a while now. I forget the studio that did it for Awakening, but I really liked Awakening's cutscenes. They've kind of jumped back and forth to a couple different studios, I think, for certain games. Echo's had a different studio for it. But it is such a treat to get some of those cutscenes from these games. And it just the way, like, when Alear's running down this hallway, like, this looks so good. Like, Alear, you can hate Alear's design, sure, but, like, Alear, like, everything looks so good about this in terms of, like, the visual fidelity, the quality, the animation.
You must fight on.
Like, it just looks really, really good. And we'll look at some battle scenes later, too, and, like, just even the battles, how the animations work in the battles, it just looks great, so... I think it'd be hard not to be excited if you're an actual Fire Emblem fan. Thank you for the sub, SS7 Gohan, Super Saiyan 7 Gohan. It seems to be working now. I don't know what the Twitch Prime, why that didn't work, but I'm gonna look into that. So I apologize. Thank you, the Coconut, for the $1.49. Thank you for the super chat. I'm gonna play some of the music again. Get that going. Liker says, oh yeah, Stevie, Scarlet and Violet is coming out. You gonna pick up the new Pokemon games? All right, let's sidetrack for a minute here. I'll see, since we see it in the corner here, I'll click on it. I don't want to spend too much time talking about this because this has nothing to do with Fire Emblem, but I will say I tend to be a little bit of a hater when it comes to Pokemon more recently, so I want to be very clear, put my cards on the table there at first. If you are excited about Scarlet and Violet, I hope very much so that you love the games and you have a great time with them. Let me put that out first. I have not been the biggest fan for a little while. I thought Sword and Shield was like the prime example of a really rushed product, really like kind of lazily done. And I don't even necessarily blame Game Freak for that problem, because they have really tough deadlines, like trying to keep up with the anime, the merchandise, and that whole like machine part of the Pokemon IP. So I'm sure they don't have enough time to do what they would really want to do. But ever since the switch to 3D, I just feel like it's like way more obvious how challenged they are by these new tools. And it's easy for me to say that over here as like some kind of armchair critic. But it's just so disappointing, I find. And I know people are not playing Pokemon for the graphics, but I mean, some of the like ground textures and stuff, even in Scarlet and Violet, from what we've seen, like they just don't look good. Like some shots look good. I like some of the new Pokemon designs and stuff. Like, I'm not gonna lie. So the past couple entries I did not buy. I was kind of voting with my wallet, which doesn't seem to work very well because Sword and Shield were like the best selling games ever for the series. So no matter what they pump out, people are going to buy it. And there's something kind of sad and depressing about that as well, I would say. Because like no matter what we do to say, hey, you know, get better, they have no incentive to do that. So that does really stink. But I will be honest and say that for Scarlet and Violet, they were luring me back in a little bit. I don't know, something about the Scarlet Violet aesthetic. I was kind of like, okay, well maybe I will consider getting one of these games and playing it. But I've been watching the leaks pretty considerably, and for those of you interested, I'm not going to spoil anything, but from what we've seen from the leaks, I'm not that impressed or excited. They've changed a lot of mechanics. I don't know if it's for the better or for worse. I don't know how much I want to say about that, but there's a lot of familiar things that I don't think are going to be there in this game. And I'll be honest, I've been so back and forth on this. Like multiple times I've said to myself, I am not buying this game. And then there's other moments where I'm like, yeah, but the 3D Pokemon battling, like that might be kind of fun again. Like, I don't know. I'm so torn. If I did get it, I would get Violet, but I don't know. I go back and forth, but overall, I just think they're not going to be that impressive to me specifically, based on what I've seen. Let me look up the other Engage trailer. Let's find the first one. Here we go. Let's watch this guy for a moment. So now going back with everything that we know, I feel like we could glean a little bit more from this one. So let's get back to it.
We live on the continent of Elios.
So once again, here we have, I'm going to wait till it gets a little closer for the world map, but here's the 12 Lords, of course. And like we talked about before, it's really funny that they showed Brave Ike specifically here, who Brave Ike wears his Father Grail's outfit. Back when, you know, some of the Brave characters would wear the outfits of people very close to them. It's just really interesting that they chose to use that Ike here for this. I mean, clearly they wanted to show the axe for like weapon variety in this, because otherwise there'd be way too many sword characters. So I guess if you're going to show Ike with an axe, you might as well show Ike with the Grail axe with the Grail outfit. So basically Brave Ike. So I guess it kind of makes sense, their decision making, but the fact that it like canonized something from Fire Emblem Heroes, I just find deeply interesting. Like I just would never have expected that at all. Heroes just seems like a completely separate, illusory entry in the series that wouldn't actually ever affect anything, but it's canon to them. Apparently there is actually a version out there of Ike that wears Grail's outfit. But we also saw in the trailer too, in the second trailer, we saw Ike and he's normal Ike. So maybe based on the weapons that they get, maybe if you want to use Axe Ike, he's going to have the Grail outfit. That's kind of interesting to think about. I hadn't really considered that until now. And we see Lucina with the Mass Marth outfit as well. What did we get here? Sorry, let me check. I was zoomed in. Eric DGD, thank you for the sub. Appreciate you. Yeah, so that's interesting. So we saw normal Lucina too, and here we have Mass Marth Lucina with the bow. Not exactly. Yeah, actually, I guess. Was it? It's Legendary Lucina. She doesn't have the Mass Marth mask, so I think they've kind of combined two things here, but that's pretty cool. We also see Lyn here with seemingly the Manicaddy, and we also saw Lyn with the Mulagir bow. I'd have to go back and see if Lyn's outfit was not the classic Lyn outfit, if it was the legendary Lyn like Sakaean horseback outfit when she uses the bow, but I'm not sure. That's interesting. Unless these are just like visual representations and they don't actually affect the characters in any meaningful way. But I guess it would be cool if we got different outfits for even the ring characters, huh? All right, let's zoom in a little bit closer to the world map, though. I'll take a look here.
Surrounding a holy land at its center.
So if there's a holy land at the center, and that appears to be that castle with the big spire tower that we've seen kind of Alir walking around, maybe the somewhere around there is that windmill town then. But it seems like you could see, with this being in the center, there's a lot of like cracks and stuff. I don't think I actually even ever noticed this until now, but it seems like, you know, something with the Fell Dragon really bad happened around here, and now there's this like dividing ring around this island. Once again, haha, ring motif there. So that's interesting. I never really considered that. But with the rest of the stuff here, we obviously have the Sand Kingdom in the bottom right here. This, I think they said it was called Solm. I'm assuming like SOLM or something like that, but we're going to have to wait till we get more information to know for sure. I think based on the logos, I don't know if we get any closer after this, but one of these is going to be Firene, of course. I'm assuming the top right one, considering its placement on the map, and the fact that it looks very snowy, that's got to be the Kingdom of Elusia, which is basically the bad guys. And you can see here, actually, now that we know from the second trailer that it's actually the Kingdom of Brodia that's fighting the Elusians. There is actually a little strip up here on this mountain range where they kind of both seem to touch. So maybe that's where they're fighting, like in between their two territories. That's pretty interesting to think about, which means that this kingdom to the left, upper left here, would then be Brodia. And that makes sense because we see a lot of brown rock. And that seems to be what we were seeing in that second trailer from those areas. So that fits for me, which makes the bottom left kingdom Firene, which is, you know, seemingly a more happy looking place than some of these other ones. But, you know, just my humble opinion there.
1,000 years ago, our lands endured a vicious war with the Fell Dragon.
Yeah, so it was 1,000 years.
We called upon heroes from other worlds to aid us, heroes known as Emblems. With them, the warriors of our nations fought as one. In the end, we were victorious in defeating and imprisoning the Fell Dragon.
So the real question is, like, was this Alir before who sealed away the Fell Dragon, right? It clearly happened, and then Alir went to sleep. But why would Alir lose their memories then? If this voiceover is that same mother-esque Naga kind of figure, she's speaking as if she knows, unless she's the narrator of the game, the way that Geralt was for Three Houses, which is totally possible. So even after the character's death, they could continue to narrate. But if this is actually like spoken from that character's perspective as expositional dialogue, like a scene where we get all this explained, then clearly she was alive for that part and knew about the Fell Dragon getting sealed. So does that mean that the scene where she dies is actually present day? So she's still around too? I don't know. There's a lot of questions that this raises. And is this character supposed to be Alir here that sealed the dragon the first time? Has it always been Alir, or is Alir like the next gen of the divine dragons? Let me check this out. What we have here. The Coconut, thanks for the sub. Thank you. You were on point tonight, the Coconut. I appreciate you. Yeah, I find that interesting though.
In the years since, our world has been safe.
Always the townspeople. Nobody ever cares about the townspeople. They just die and get their lives destroyed. The poor, unfortunate Fire Emblem townspeople.
But now, I sense a resurrection. The binding weakens.
Seems like Evil Garnuff is undoing the bind, probably in that church scene. Oh, I never realized in this particular scene, it seems like maybe the ring is waking up Alir. I wonder if this is actually like them waking up for the first time in the Holy Land of Lethos and that Divine Dragon Tower thing or whatever. And the big bed, there's like a big bed that Alir is like laying on at first. So I wonder if this is the actual first moment Alear wakes up, or if this is something else. Alear is like standing in that scene, so maybe not. But here's the scene we were talking about the dragon. Yeah, I guess it is the same dragon. It just looks like very different in this trailer compared to the other one. I'm gonna open up a second tab of this and kind of go back and forth because I'm kind of intrigued about that. So I was thinking originally that the other dragon shot was maybe the mother, like Naga-esque character. But maybe it's just the lolly dragon girl, the Tiki of this game instead. Let me compare though. Let's find it. Where did that happen? We got this. I was probably just shy of it. Let's see. Because this is so heavily spliced, it's difficult to remember where everything happens in this too. Was it really this far in? So, I mean, this to me seems like pretty similar scene. Maybe Alear is startled here and turns around.
Has another.
Yeah, so Alear's like shocked, looks around, and then maybe Alear turns around, and then this is what we're greeted with. It looks like it's very possible this is the same scene, just different angle now. So maybe this is the lolly girl showing Alear what she can do. I'm assuming the lolly girl can turn into a dragon. We don't know that for certain, so let me be clear and upfront about that. But I mean, she looks kind of weird. Like she's got to be a dragon, right? Like she fits the vibe. So she passes the vibe check. I mean, does that look like a normal girl to you? I don't think so. She looks like she has like Faye from Fire Emblem 6, like Faye chicken dragon wing things on her. So I don't buy it. I think she's a dragon. So that's just my 2 cents there. But there's like a more specific shot of the dragon that I don't remember where it is. Maybe it's early on. Let's let this play for a second.
When your scattered memory.
So like, is that the same dragon? It has like these weird crown horn appendage things.
Return to you. You must fight on with the utmost divinity.
Oh yeah, right there. So is this the same scene? So is Alear about to get... that's kind of weird. Like, does that look like the same scene to you? I mean, we could see the same... We have this central tower, which seems to be that Holy Land of Lethos tower. Let's jump back to it really quick here, just to point it out to you. So in the center of the map here, you can see that really tall spire, right? Now, I just lost track of where I was. Was it 57? Yeah. So you can see that spire in the background here. So clearly we're in what I assume to be the Holy Land of Lethos in the center of the world map. And Alear is like wandering out in the field here. We've got this very distinct mountain range here in the back. You can kind of see that here in the darkness. It's a little harder to see because it's dark, but it looks like this dragon is about to shoot a blast, maybe behind Alear and save Alear from some more corrupted or something.
I believe in you much.
I don't know. I'm just trying to piece this together. But the lighting is so different here that maybe this is just rendered differently now as they get closer to launch. Because this looks very different to me. But I guess that dragon does have those 2 horn things, doesn't it? Maybe all the divine dragons kind of look the same in their dragon form. That's definitely possible too. If the dragon from earlier in the new trailer is that other character and not the little girl. Or maybe it's always the little girl. Who knows? And obviously after saving Alear from this second trailer where she shoots the fireball. Where was that? Right here. She shoots a fireball, hits the corrupted who Alear is clearly being attacked by, and then they're going to have a little chat because now he's kind of seeing her over here behind the tree. So I don't know if this scene in particular is just something made for this trailer to kind of show off some of the characters, or if this is actually going to be a cutscene in the game, or maybe this is like one of the intro cutscenes, like as the game is booting up. If you remember, Fire Emblem Awakening had that pretty interesting cutscene with the little butterfly flying around, and then it was kind of going around all the characters and they were fighting and stuff. It kind of reminds me of this a little bit, but I wonder if this will be in the actual game, because who knows where this is. And it kind of shows them facing off against the Fell Dragon, I think, later on in this trailer. In like a similar environment. There's Abby, of course, once again. Summoning Marth in that field. So clearly, I mean, on the way to whatever that windmill town is, not only is Alear going to meet the dragon girl, but we're also going to, at some point, remember Marth and use the ring and summon Marth.
You're awake!
Huh?
You're really awake, yeah?
1,000 years?
Look at this fancy bed with this little shawl around it here in this tower.
That's how long I've been asleep.
And so clearly, like, this is one of the early game. I'm assuming this is one of the early game missions. We see some gameplay footage of this in a little bit here, but it looks like Alear, Vander, Cram, and Fram are attacked by Corrupted, maybe leaving the Holy Land of Lethos. But then why do we only see Alear in the other scene when Alear gets attacked by Corrupted over here? Unless it's just showing Alear for the sake of the cutscene. But Alear looks to be alone here.
I'm just passing through.
So I find that interesting. Because if Alear is going to wake up, Alear is waking up to Fram and Cram in his face. And probably Vander outside the room or something.
Years? That's how long I've been asleep.
Also, I'm wondering if they changed Alear's voice, because I think Alear sounds different now. Because I thought it sounded like Johnny Young Bosch or something at first, and he definitely does not sound like that now. But here's clearly the group, the gang. The gang's all here. They're being attacked by Corrupted.
What are those horrible things?
And we could see, specifically in this map, they're fighting in that little windmill town. And we see some other shots of this. And actually, I'll just wait till we get there. I do want to point out, as we go into this, though, the flow of the combat and the sound effects. We might not hear it here because the music is over it. Maybe we'll have to watch one of the Twitter clips later. But just the fluidity of the movement and the weight of the weapons, it just looks so good. I'm really excited for that.
If I may.
Ready?
You are a divine dragon, a member of a royal family of dragons.
I don't, there's something about it just looks so good. And so here, if you pay attention, I broke this down in my full analysis of the first trailer. So if you want a little bit more beyond this stream, I do have a video on my channel breaking down this first trailer more specifically in an edited format, not live like this. But you can see up here we have Fram and Cram and their allied units in this forest up here. And it looks like Alear and Vander have to go save them. So I don't know how this happens, especially if you wake up with them in front of your face. But somehow they're going to be allied units on a map, and you're going to have to save them, probably in the early game.
As deities.
The war. The Fell Dragon. I feel like I can almost remember.
I don't know, like when they hit stuff, it just feels like you like feel the impact a little bit or something. It's kind of nice. The music, I think the music right now is kind of throwing it off. We'll watch some Twitter clips later where I think it's kind of more evident. But there's something about the flow of the combat I kind of like. Feels good. Feels like it hurts.
The ring. Marth.
If I'm not, I mean, going off what I already said, I mean, we kind of know where Marth gets summoned, but yeah, it's like similar rocky hills in the background here. This is obviously graphics using the in-game cutscene as opposed to like a full CG cutscene, like the Marth getting summoned part is. But you know, I'm sure this leads into that immediately after.
The ring. Marth, right.
And obviously, in this scene, Alear can clearly use Sigurd's ring too. I don't know if this reveals to us that you'll get Sigurd's ring early, or if this was just a little trailer Easter egg or something. But I guess actually you would get Sigurd's ring early because we see Alfred with it soon after this too. So maybe Sigurd's is like the second ring that you ever get in the game.
Right.
And once again, here's more kind of battles in this like windmilly town. So I don't know if this is just going to be like an area of the map and you keep encountering enemies here. And so there's going to be similar battles, or like within this region, the battles will use these kind of maps with this stuff in the background. as the scenery and the environment. Because you could see in this part of the trailer, we already have Louis, the armor knight. We got Chloe over there, the peg knight. We've got, I think, Alfred, and there's Fram. But we have some extra characters. Oh, and also Celine, of course. And we saw Celine from the second trailer. She is in the windmill town at one point, so clearly that's connected. Where is that? Let me remind myself where that happens. Isn't it around here? Yeah. Yeah, so here's Celine. I think she's the princess of Firene. So I don't know if that means that she and Alfred are brother and sister or related somehow, but there is that. And so we see her again here on the map in this windmill town or area. But it seems to me like you're going to have a lot of battles around here because I don't think this is the same battle that we saw earlier, like right here. Oh, you do have 80 here. But I don't think you don't see her in the other part of that. And then this specific one back here. Oh, we actually do see Celine there. Okay. So we see Celine here. We see Alfred. We see Fram and Cram. So this is actually a little bit. And there's also Louise over there to the right. Look at that. Now that we have more context, this makes more sense. Is chat blocking that? Chat's kind of blocking it, but you can kind of see him there. Mr. Fox says, Alir can use Sigurd and Marth, but not Celica. They may very well be able to use Celica. We don't know that yet. I think that was probably just a clip they took from really early on. They do have the Celica ring here, though, so that's kind of interesting. But obviously, it seems to be equipped to Celine, so I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. We have seen, like, in the second trailer later on, we see characters with different weapon types paired with characters that don't have that same weapon type. We have Alfred here with the lance, and he's got Lucina's ring. We have the dancer chick with the lance, and she's got Ike's. So, like, maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know. We're going to have to find out. But the thing is, like, especially in this first trailer, we get to see when they actually fuse and engage together. And I can't imagine that they created every single combination for every single character. So even if everyone is able to use every ring, there must be like a specific like main ring for them, right? Because there's no way that everyone gets like full changes and redes. Like, this is a different version of Alfred, but this is Alfred. This is engaged Alfred using Sigurd's ring. And he gets the Rider's Bane from Sigurd. His hair color is completely different. He seems to have a different Sigurd-inspired outfit. Unless they just use the same outfit for every character and like add a texture or layer effect to their hair that changes the hair color, like, I suppose that's plausible. But that seems a bit excessive, that everybody would be able to engage with every ring. I don't know. We'll have to see. Now, let's get back to where we were, though. And where was that?
Wake!
Dragon, a member of a royal family of dragons revered as deities.
Fell dragon. I feel like I can almost remember.
I've had my eye on you.
Got Chloe, Thief with the hammer. It's fun to point out that we don't know for sure, but clearly thieves can use hammers and axes. We saw Anna from the leak earlier that we were talking about, and she seems to wield an axe, and she looks kind of like a thief or bandit type character. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice tonight. So maybe they're going back to like thieves with axes, like in Echoes and Gaiden. It's kind of interesting to think about, but that thief has a hammer. That's kind of unusual. And it's green, so clearly that's an item that you're going to be able to get from beating that thief.
The ring. Marth, right. Sigurd,
Leave it to me.
Oh, maybe that's why. Okay, so maybe this makes even more sense then. So if these thieves, that looks like maybe that's not a normal. Is that the same model? Let's see if that's the same model.
I've had my eye on you.
Maybe they decided, I think it is the same model. Maybe they decided to give thieves axes because that gives Alir weapon triangle advantage against them and allows him to learn about the break mechanic. So basically, if you have weapon triangle advantage, and you attack an enemy, you can actually cause the break status on them, which means that the next person who fights them basically gets a free attack in without any kind of counter attack from the enemy. I think it's a one kind of a go type deal per turn. So maybe that's why they've decided to give thieves axes instead of swords like they typically have, or knives in some games. But that could be the reasoning, the thought process behind that one. Because we're fighting more thieves later on here that have axes too.
Marth, right.
He's got an iron axe.
Sigurd,
Leave it to me.
It is rather quiet.
So there's Somniel. So I don't know if that means that this home base place is going to be called Somniel. That doesn't appear to be the same kind of church. And this also doesn't appear to be any of the other kingdoms. So I'm wondering where this main hub is going to be located.
Quiet, I know. But it will liven up as we gain allies.
We have Citrine here. Here's this mage chick we saw in this trailer. I'll do what I can to tie it together. I might not jump back and forth for every single thing here, but just where I can, I'll point out like details that tie them together. So this blonde chick to the left here, that's Citrine. She seems to be a mage character. She's got a tome here. So here's her equipping the noble jacket. We got Alfred working as like a butler or something. So what's interesting is around base camp, like your characters are going to be running the different stalls and stuff. So that's kind of fun, I guess.
the time has come. Now, as one, Emblem Engage!
So here's engaged Alir. The sword changes to Mercurius. The hair kind of changes a bit, which is pretty interesting. And like I was saying, I'm sure Alir would get a custom outfit. Like if they're the main character, they would probably get... If Alir can use every ring, I wonder if Alir gets custom ones for every single one. Or maybe they just always turn into this, but with a different weapon. But imagining like all 12 combinations times however many recruitable characters are in the game, if they can use any ring, and then having like an engaged form, like that just sounds way too insane to me. I have trouble imagining them doing that. So either the rings will be kind of specific and only work with certain folks, or maybe anybody can use them, but rings will be more special to certain characters than others, and you'll only be able to fuse and actually engage with a particular ring. And obviously Alir has a big connection with Marth.
One strike will decide it all.
Please grant me your strength.
And Citrine makes sense for Celica. Alfred makes sense with Sigurd. Here's the King of Brodia. So we didn't get to see this part of the shot in the second trailer, but I'll jump back here because this is kind of clearly some big plot moment. So this scene where you have all the soldiers in the battlefield, it's Brodia versus Elucia. Elucia being the evil snowy kingdom. I'm assuming this is going to take place probably... let me try to remember where we're at. On the world map here, you can see at the very top, it looks like the kingdom of Brodia to the left connects to the kingdom of Elucia on the right. And I'm assuming up in here in the middle where they actually connect, maybe that's where this battlefield is taking place. Because if Elucia is trying to invade, you probably want to go to the edge of your land and start walking onto your friend's land and start invading over there, right? So that's probably where this is happening. And it's snowy here. And Brodia, from what we've seen of the other shots in this second trailer, Brodia doesn't appear to be snowy. At least in the other, like this part of Brodia doesn't seem to be snowy at all. It just seems to be more rocky than anything. Like see the rocks in the background. So maybe it's just it really is just the northernmost part of Brodia where it's snowy like that, and they're fighting. But we could see, let me go back to where we were. King of Brodia here draws his sword. He's obviously fighting like himself on the battlefield, which is pretty Chad of a king to do. But unfortunately, let's see if I could find the shot where it happens. Evil Garnef here, who's got the Lin ring, grabs his sword and holds it in place.
And that some Illusians worship the Fell Dragon.
Does he say Somnilusians? Wait a minute. Hold on.
Illusians worship the Fell, and that some Illusians worship the
Somnilusians. That almost sounds like Somniel as a location. That's interesting.
Fell Dragon.
Come a little closer. I'll give you a good long look.
Where does this happen?
I will now take your life possession. Well, isn't this tragic? Violence.
A little hard to find because it's so spliced, but at some point here, basically the sword gets grabbed, and then we cut to this scene here where he's grabbing the sword, and he's now using the ring to summon Lindis, who is about to probably snipe poor King of Brodia, this guy, in the head. Boop. That's not looking so good from point blank range there. Lynn seems to be wearing her normal outfit, so maybe in the games they do just have the same outfit no matter what weapon they equip. It's just weird then that in the first mural in this early trailer here, we see literally Brave Ike, who's got a completely different outfit from normal Ike, and also masked Marth Lucina / legendary Lucina. Everybody else, I think, has their like normal outfits on. It's just weird that those two they did that for. I don't know. Him putting on the ring. There's more of that fight. And then, of course, here's what seem to be all the main characters from the cover facing off against the Fell Dragon. We have the Prince of Brodia. We've got what is probably the princess of was it Solm? Solm, the sandy place. We got Alfred, and we have Abby. Abby seemingly like a reject from the Kingdom of Elusia. I mean, she starts off evil, clearly, judging by what she says in the second trailer here.
I will now take your lives, your souls, and the rings.
So somehow we're going to convince Abby to join us, and here she is facing off against the Fell Dragon with us. And she's on the cover, of course, so clearly she's pretty important. So here's Marth and Alir. This is what I was talking about earlier. There's a scene here at the end of the new trailer where it kind of looks like this might be connected, right? Like right here, they're kind of running together through this long hallway. Like I was speculating, maybe it's the end of the game or later on. And now it looks like they're getting ready to do something. They're looking at each other. Arms and hands raised. And now, boop, they're about to open this door. I'm assuming that probably leads right to the Fell Dragon. Maybe that's the final fight. But that's kind of weird to show like a final battle moment like in a first trailer like that, right? That's kind of bizarre. So yeah, but that's that. Here's the cover art. We can see Sylvain 2.0, aka Brody Prince. We've got Abby. Abby, I keep calling her Abby. That's what the leaks called her. I don't know if her name will be changed to anything else. So I'm saying Abby, but that is subject to change. Then we have Alfred, and we have the Desert Kingdom girl down here whose name we still do not know. Hopefully they'll reveal her in the coming days on the Twitter account. But with all that said, let me check chat here for a moment, and then maybe we'll watch some clips on Twitter and talk about things a little bit further. Oh, we had some bots? Ah, we did. Wouldn't be a YouTube stream without some bots. Let me get rid of them. Even more explicit name than usual. I miss Naked HD. The OG. I don't really miss them, but you know. It happens. What are we talking? Oh, there's more. Let's see. Let's report. Sorry, guys. This always happens on YouTube. I don't know why they have not figured this out yet. I don't know how to say your name. Oyan 0Y10N says S support toothpaste. We've not seen any evidence about S supports in the game. I mean, they might be in here, but it's not clear yet. Let's go to twitter.com. And I'm going to search for Fire Emblem JP, the official Japanese Fire Emblem account. And we could potentially watch a couple clips here of things that got shown earlier. Poor Boucheron here. This is like my least favorite character design. Can you guys see this? Is this showing well? Is this playing along nicely? Let me make sure before I start watching stuff. But his head is just way too small for his body, and it really bothers me on a very deep level. Even his sprite looks like jank looking. He's just like weird. Like, what's wrong with him? All right, you can't see this. Okay. I didn't analyze these little clips like so much, but clearly we have 80. 80 and Boucheron or Boucheron, however you say this guy's name, they seem to be kind of like retainers or folks associated with Alfred. I will show that clip in a little bit as well. So it's not surprising that we also have them here in the Windmill Village at some point in time. Because we had 80 already from one of the trailers, so clearly like they're around. Why is his head so small? Look at his thigh. Look at the size and shape of his thigh is like 4 heads. 4 of his heads in his thigh. Listen, in art school, they taught me that your head should be approximately 1/3 of your shoulder span, right? So head here, head in the middle, head here. This dude needs like 5 heads in order to reach the edges of his shoulders. Maybe it's his armor. I kind of doubt it. His body just looks super wide as well. But this poor guy, he's not winning. He's not winning my favorite character design at all. Like, I'm sorry. This needs, you know what? Hold on a second. I want to do a little experiment here, if you guys are willing to indulge me for a moment. Let me play some music. Put this music back on, at least while we're doing this. I'm going to open up Photoshop, and I'm going to see if he looks better with his head bigger. Because I think he will. Here's the original layer. Let's get a Photoshop window going in here. Go Photoshop, and let's go boop. Put this below everything. All right, I think I need to resize this. Yeah. Welcome to the world of Photoshop. This is where we make people pretty and do a lot of stuff. I love Photoshop. It's such a great app. Adobe is kind of a crap company, though. Very evil. All right, so I'm putting a circle around his head. I'm gonna make his head bigger. Hold on. I know what you're thinking. Hold on. We're gonna fix this. We're gonna fix it. Okay. Just chill. Shh. Relax. Okay. Relax. Actually, what I want to do is I'm gonna take that off of there. We're gonna go like this, and I'm gonna nicely take a little brush, erase a little bit of this, right? So that way it blends a little bit better to the original neck and body. Okay, right? Maybe. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're just doing this as a quick little example. But look at, I mean, come on. Is that not better? That took 2 minutes of work. 2 minutes of work. Look at this head. Tell me that that's better than this, okay? Oh, maybe this is a little too big. At this point, maybe that's a little bit better. Like, you wouldn't question this guy's head being too small, right? But it's just like somebody hit the shrink ray at it. Like, it's like a little mushroom cap or something in like a wide forest. Tell me that's not better. Come on, let me see chat. What you guys are saying in here? Mary Sue says enlarging his brain. It's better just give him a little more neck. Oh yeah, we could do that. Yeah, that's good advice. Thank you. Yeah, I was trying not to cut off his hair at the top here. We're running out of room. But yeah, that's definitely fair. I agree. Come on. I mean, come on. Come on. It's better. I don't know what they did to this poor fella. I would like him like 10 times better if he looked like this. Roy the Boy says, fixing character designs with Lucky Crit. Yeah, exactly. Archmage says, you're 100% right. I'm sorry. For those of you that I have now ruined it for and will always see him as Little Head Man, I deeply apologize. I am sorry. I can't help it. It really irks me. The inner artist within had a serious problem with this guy. Not my favorite. I like 80 though. 80 is pretty cool. Let's take a look at 80 fighting for a second here. So this looks like that same tower background. So clearly this is a place where we got all these characters and they're also fighting at some point later too, right? 69. Nice. I don't know. Like, look at the movement though. Like, look at her. I'm not saying it's like totally realistic, but like even her little like elbow thing, like I love the movement, like how fluid it looks. I don't know. There's just something different about like the weight of things in this game. You know, perhaps it's not perfect, but oh, come on. Twitter's mad because I'm on a thing I have not logged in on. All right, let me do I even remember my Twitter login? I don't even know that I do, to be honest with you. How could I fix this without doxing everything? All right, let's do that. I guess I'm gonna log in Brave. What would it be? Hey, I got it in one try. Okay. All right, we're back. Back on Twitter. Ignore my feed. You didn't. Oh, we have a new Fire Emblem Heroes trailer. That's interesting. Who is it? That looks cool. Oh, of course. Okay, never mind. Not very exciting. We knew that. Let's go Fire Emblem JP. I want to look at a couple more things here from the official Japanese Twitter account. I wanted to show you the scene where we'll look at Sigurd. I definitely want to look at Sigurd. But I want to show you the scene where Alfred seems to meet Alir. I don't know why this is behaving so poorly in this browser right here. So this shot... well, first off, it's what makes me believe that Boucheron, whatever his name is, and 80 are the retainers of Alfred, or at least companions of him, because obviously they're with him here in this shot. But also we could see this similar pillar-esque background here, and later on in the trailer, I guess I can't quite jump back and forth to it as I wanted to, but we see Alfred kind of rushing out of the darkness from like that same place. Where are we here? There you are, Alfred. So similar looking background. It's got the pillars, the crumbled ruins that we saw them fighting in as well.
Divine one.
So Alfred here is rushing out, and then at a different moment, it looks like it's like more daytime. So I don't know if that symbolizes like Alir getting saved like in the night or in the early morning, and now Alfred is here, or maybe it's just two completely unrelated scenes, and Alir wakes up and then meets Alfred at some point during the day. And then later on, you're back at some other temple or this temple again at night, and Alfred rushes in to save you. I don't know. I just thought that the CG cutscene of Alfred rushing in on horseback to like do something seemed a little specific. It almost seemed like a character introductory cutscene. So that was kind of my thought process behind that one. We also know from this information that Alfred has come to visit the sleeping Alir before. This is the first time, obviously, that Alfred is finding them awake. Thanks to Satsuma FS, who does a lot of translating on these posts, which personally I really appreciate. So shout out to Satsuma FS. It seems Alfred has visited the sleeping Alir many times. He's surprised that Alir woke up. So nothing too surprising with that, but you know, it's the way it is. Let's talk about Sigurd. I mentioned Sigurd way earlier on in the stream, so we got to get to that. I think Sigurd could have ended up looking a little bit more Chad-like. You know, he's kind of... There's nothing wrong with Sigurd here, but he looks a little bit more K-pop boy band-esque than, like, the manly, masculine... Hold on, I'm not going to spend that long on this one either, but I'm curious about this. Let's bring back up the Photoshop window. I got to try something really quick here. So I'm not a huge fan of the whole... Let me dupe the layer so we have the original one still to play with. Not a huge fan of the whole anime nose thing. And especially not when it's like a straight line, to be honest. I'm curious though. Hold on, humor me. We're gonna do a little nose line, right? Little thin. I need a better opacity than that, and I need it a little bit like that. So if I was to give, this is going to be bad. I don't have any reference shot here for me, but I'm going to give him a bit more of a nose here. Hold on. Bear with me. I don't have a tablet right now. Set up. That doesn't look good. If I gave him more, yeah, it looks really bad actually. It looks really bad. Okay, this is not working as I had hoped. Hold on. If we take, let's add some anime highlight aesthetic back here on this side of the nose, right? Maybe. You know, this doesn't look good. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize, but with refining and with a tablet, this could eventually look all right. It's not going to, but I also think he needs a thicker neck. So I want to play with that. Just want to see how Chad I can make Sigurd in the next 2 minutes. That's all I will waste your time for, okay? I just want to see. I'm just curious, okay? I just think he could look way better and more Chad daddy-like, and I think he deserves it. Just want the best for Siggy. It's not going to be perfect, but I don't care. Do a little cleanup in here really quick. This should go all the way up technically, but whatever. I feel like his shoulder should be like way bigger too and stuff, but I mean, right? Like, right? Ignore the continuity issues, okay? I'm just experimenting here. I'm just experimenting. I just want to see what a more Chad Sigurd could potentially look like. His nose is kind of bothering me. I don't like what I've done with the place. Maybe this is too wide. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know, okay? I just... Is there any improvement there? Let me know. This is really rough. I spent 2 minutes on it, but like... I just think he could look more Chad. And I think he deserves to look more Chad. Especially based on his original art. This is just too... skinny boy band. Pop idol. You know? Do you like that? Do we like this? E.L. David says, this is getting cursed. Mr. Fox says, noseless is peak manliness. Yeah, okay. Kaiser Leon says, noseless, he is ready for Final Fantasy Tactics. Is that true? Do they not have noses in Final Fantasy Tactics? Methodia says, wider neck and jaw. Yeah, actually, I probably should have widened his jaw, huh? Roy the Boy says, that's quite the schnoz. Big Demon Sigurd. Aw. You guys hate the nose. Okay, I'm sorry. All right? I'll do better next time. I wanted to experiment. I know we can do better. Okay? We can do better than that. I think it's on the right track, okay? Maybe I put too many lines for it to be an anime nose and not enough shading in the nose recesses, right? Perhaps. Look, with more that's not better, but with more work it could eventually be better, okay? But we're done with that for now. So it's just, I think one of the down points of this particular style. I don't hate it. I just think, you know, I think Sigurd deserved better. That's all I'm saying. Let's take a look at this clip of Chloe. I like her hair a lot. And I like that they have this little, like, it's going to get old really fast because I feel like every character does the same little thing. But the fact that they, like, whip out the weapon here and, like, the battle prep thing, it's kind of cool. Bam. I don't know. I like it. It's like a nice little touch. Always critting. Every time we've seen her, always critting. That's one of my favorite designs so far. I like her hair. Maybe this is a support conversation because we saw Alir talking to Marth in here. This looks to me like the base camp background, but if these two are talking in this same spot, obviously none of these two are ring characters. So is this just like either like a generic base conversation backdrop, or is this straight up like support conversations and Alir's going to have support ranks with like the ring characters? Does that make sense? You think they would do that? That's interesting. I never thought about that until now. I guess I could see it, right? Like, especially if Alir needs to like remember more from the characters and learn from them. Maybe that's how they kind of integrate that to the overall flow of the story. Kind of like how Byleth, in certain support conversations and interactions, has more emotion, you know, as they kind of go through the game. Maybe that's like this game's version of that or something. But with that said, I feel like we kind of looked at everything I wanted to look at here for Engage. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Rebel53 says the Fey banner's pretty good, Lucky Crits. I'll have to check it out. I have like no orbs though. Billy Mays asks, will you play the new Pokemon? I talked about that a little bit earlier. I really think it would be fun to stream as an experience, so I was kind of leaning towards it for that in that sense. But I'll be honest, I looked at some of the leaks and stuff, and I'm just not very impressed with certain aspects of the game. If you are excited for it, I hope that you love it. But for me, it's kind of like Sword and Shield 2.0 a little bit in terms of like some of the cut corners that I'm noticing. So I don't know. Like, people were kind of scared in the Pokemon trailers. I guess I'll open it up. If I'm gonna crap on it, I might as well show you what I'm talking about, right? In some of the trailers, we got some shots where like NPCs and other things happening in the background, like we're at like 2 FPS, like walking around. I'll completely mute this. And unfortunately, from what I've seen of like further game footage, like that's just how it is. Like as NPCs walk around you, like especially like the students walking down the stairs here, I've seen a different shot of this and they are just tweaking. It's just weird looking. Like, I don't know if they struggled to get the game to run properly on the Switch hardware. Wait, can you see it there? Yeah, you can. Ready? So watch. I guess you could watch any of these students, but more specifically, there's a student here in the Scarlet. Oh, where was that? Yeah, so see this student right here to the left? Watch them walk. It's going to cut, but we're looking at this kid's pants, I guess, right now. Hold on. Ready? Oop. All right, watch this kid walking in the background. Ugh, it's like 1 frame per second, like. And then as you get closer to them, it'll get better, of course, but like, it's like, oh man, you really had to like that was the only way to get it to run right, is like the NPCs all around you even have to like walk like really bad. And even like look at some of the banners here in the background, like just low. Like this is like worse than the fruit in Fire Emblem 3 houses. This is the fruit basket, but like an even lower quality PNG or JPEG. You know what I mean? Like, why? What's up with that? Why couldn't you get a better picture for that spot? Like, did it really run so poorly that you had to like reduce the quality of like all of the environment stuff to like make it run right? I don't know. Like, it's a shame because I actually like some of these new Pokemon designs. Like Satitan, I think, is one of my favorite newer ones. I do not like the starter evolutions. I'll be very frank about that. I don't want to spoil anybody that is hasn't seen them yet. But I'm not a fan of them. I'll be completely honest about that. I don't know, like the idea of actually using Pokemon in a 3D game really does entice me. I love Pokemon. I grew up with Pokemon. I guess I had Pokemon Battle Revolution, although I never played that game very much. That was probably the last time I've played a 3D Pokemon experience. So like there's definitely a lot of this that does really appeal to me, but there's also like just some aspects of the game that I just really am like, I don't like this. What's happened here? I don't know. I don't know what it is. I debated making a video about this. I don't know if I will or not. We'll have to see. It's obviously not what I usually talk about on the channel here, but I don't know. I've been so back and forth. I really thought once I saw the leaks, I was like, I'm definitely not getting it. But then there's been other moments where I've like gotten a little genuine like excitement of like imagining the adventure. But what I also don't like is like you're kind of stuck to these like school children character designs. There are other outfits, but from what we saw so far, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of them. Maybe they're delegating that to DLC or something, but like I'm also going to be forced to play as a dribbling school child, which doesn't really appeal to me all that much. If I was to get one though, I think I would get Violet. I think most people are Team Scarlet, and I don't blame you, but I like the futuristic bike Pokemon better than I like the caveman aesthetic, I guess. But that is that. What's up, Fred? Fred says, did you see Cram using Sigurd? Yeah, so there's like, we've definitely seen some other weird combinations. Let's get back to Fire Emblem now, I guess. I don't know which specific part you're talking about, but yeah, we've seen characters that you might not assume using other rings. Oh yeah, is this what you're talking about? Yeah. Cram and Sigurd here. So, I mean, I would think, to me, if I was making this game, I would want any character to be able to use any ring. I just think that from a modeling perspective, I doubt that every person can fuse with every ring and get that like new form, the actual Engage fusion. I'm guessing that if there's going to be Engage fusions for every character, that's got to be probably more specific and like linked to a certain ring. Otherwise, maybe they're all just all generic outfits. Maybe they did it like that. Generic outfits and change the hair color and call it a day. Maybe that's how it works. Because otherwise, every single character in the game is going to need 12 different models for engaging with each ring, which I think sounds kind of a little excessive from a modeling perspective. You guys like Luis, whatever his name is? I don't know how I feel about him. He's like Kellum Install 2.0. Kuma King says, what do you think of Armor Rouge? Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't hate the design. Armor Rouge is one of the new Pokemon. I don't hate the design. Is this Armor Rouge or is this... Oh, this is Cyriledge or whatever it is. This is that... I like this one better, but this to me is like a Mega Man character. This is not a Pokemon. It's just a little too far beyond what I would say a normal Pokemon is. I know Pokemon's kind of expanded beyond over the years and stuff, so I'm not going to sit here and scream, oh my god, this is not my Pokemon, I hate it, blah, blah, blah. That's not me. But I will be honest and say, as much as I like this design, and I think it makes a really sick design, I think this fits better in a Mega Man game than it does in a Pokemon game. And that's just my perspective on that one. Yeah. I mean, if you want to make a little dog made out of dough, that's, I guess I'm cool with that. But I don't know. I mean, the pigs, there's Fido. The pig's fine. I like Titan. There's definitely new designs that I like, for sure. I like every starter. I just don't like what they turn into, to be honest. I'm not going to look at that right now. Like I said, no spoilers, but you know, I'm not mad about the new cover legendaries. Those are fine. Nothing wrong with that. I don't know. You know what I hate too is like they introduce these new forms, and I get that they shouldn't be like so prevalent, but I always expect there to be more of these regional forms. And I won't spoil like how many there are in this game or whatever, but I wish that there were more, personally. I like seeing the regional forms of old Pokemon. I like giving old Pokemon a chance, especially Pokemon that are not good like competitively. Yeah, anyway. What else should we talk about? I should probably wrap up the stream pretty soon here. We talked about what we needed to talk about, but if you guys have any questions or anything you'd like to ask, I will stick around and answer that. What's up, Ruby Giraffes? Ruby Giraffe says, I've never seen Sigurd as the manly type. He's definitely the fatherly type. Well, maybe it's his old school artwork. Let's look at that. If you're gonna say that, I gotta bring it up. I think his old school artwork was just more like Chad and masculine looking. And I mean, it's a completely different style, but like, I don't know. Oh, you can't really see that. I'm sorry. How can I show you this more effectively? Oh, this is better. No, it's not. The preview is always to the right. Well, regardless, should I use some web design tomfoolery here? Oops, that's not what I wanted. Copy, paste. That's better. He just looks, I don't know, I like his look there better. You know, it's just more dashing, more appealing. I don't know. Roque Figueroa says, LOL, Sigurd is starting to look like Hank Hill. My custom one. Oh, sorry. What's up, Mercenary BDU? Mercenary BDU says, it's great that Pokemon got another batch of games, but I'm not going to be fetching it as it is at around 1,000 Pokemon as of this time. Well, unfortunately, I mean, that's the other controversy, Mercenary, is they've cut the dex. Like, National Dex is not back in this game. It's gone. There's only a select... I won't spoil it for folks that don't want to be spoiled, but there is only a select number of Pokemon in this game, and it is not 1,000, and it is not, like, close to 1,000. So, they're now doing this thing where it's like, hey, each game can only have X percentage of the total Pokemon population, and you can only bring those Pokemon here. And I still don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. I get that they want to, like, focus on a select set, so I can understand it from that perspective. And I get that, like, if it's not already a problem now, it's going to be. I mean, imagine when there's 2,000 Pokemon, and then you're expected to, like, remodel or update or upgrade or add custom animations and new things to 2,000 Pokemon in a single game. Like, I get it. Eventually, that's going to be an absolute nightmare if it isn't already. So I understand it. But still, like, the idea that, like, hey, I paid for Pokemon Home. Here's all my Pokemon in there from, like, Sword and Shield. And, like, a chunk of them can't come into the new game. Like, that stinks. That's kind of stupid. You know? Kaiser Leon says he has hella forehead. Okay, I mean, I guess that's fair. Ruby says, with Sigurd, that's how I personally see him. He never spoke like a Chad either. He has some good lines from Heroes. But, yeah, I don't know. I guess I just took him as more of a Chad, huh? Mary Sue's asking, what character do you like so far? I did talk about this. I'll talk about this a little bit more. Vander's okay. Fram and Cram, I don't mind, but I'm kind of getting... oh, sorry, I'm using the wrong browser here. Let's start at the top. We'll do all the recent character reveals. Boucheron, like I said, his head is just too small. Bothers me. Aside from that, he's all right. 80, I like a lot. That's one of my favorites so far. Fram and Cram. This is only Cram here. Fram and Cram give me, like, maybe potentially annoying little brother and sister vibes a little bit. So I don't know how I feel about them yet. Their designs are pretty cool. Although I'm not a huge fan of the whole, like, nerdy, small little mage boy kind of vibe, and I feel like Cram's got that going here. It's just not my favorite aesthetic, you know. Where's the, like, Chad, like, buff mage guy, right? Like, he works out, but then he, like, studies magic. He doesn't punch things with his fists. He does it with his spellbook magic, you know? Like, where's that character? I want to see that character. Chloe I like a lot. I'd say that's probably one of my more favorite designs so far. It's interesting that her hair is so drastically different on each side, but that's kind of fun, and I think her hair color is kind of nice. As much as she is, like, generic Pegasus Knight girl number, like, 15, she's pretty interesting. They gave her some flares on there. I'll say Louise, however you pronounce this guy, who's kind of like Kellum mixed with Stahl. Not the biggest fan of this guy yet. I'll give him a chance. We'll see. But so far, he doesn't really appeal to me. Celica looks great in this game. Celine is fine. I like her little crisscrossed weird stuff going on with that as part of her outfit. It's kind of cool. The crown is maybe a bit excessive and kind of big, honestly, but she's fine. She has, like, this big ballroom gown, which is kind of strange, but... Like, I don't know how you fight with that. And it stays, like, perfectly inflated. So, like, that's kind of weird. But I'm okay with that. Alfred's fine. I wish he was a little bit more different than Dimitri. I mean, he definitely is. Let me check out what that was. Sorry, I'm not looking.
Legacy character are you looking forward to see?
Thanks to Coconut again for the $5 super chat. Appreciate you. What legacy character are you looking forward to see? Oh. Yeah, I guess at this point it's Leaf, because they showed Sigurd in the trailers, which was really exciting to see, because like seeing Sigurd in 3D was something that had never happened before. I think that's pretty hype. But at this point, you know, we've kind of seen Sigurd a good amount. I think he was up here, wasn't he? Let's get watch this clip. Sigurd was definitely fun to see, but at this point I would say of the 12 ring lords, Leaf. I'm also curious to see like how much, if at all. Actually, they must have to, right? They're gonna have to update or change the Byleth model, right? And the Corrin model, because their whole like design and style fits their games, and it doesn't necessarily fit this aesthetic. So they're gonna have like new appearances, right? I mean, they'll look like themselves, but in the same way, this Celica looks a bit different from Celica in Echoes. They have to be brought into this Fire Emblem Engage style. So I'll be interested to see that. But Leaf for sure, just because we haven't ever seen him in 3D. L. David says, I thought you would like the red-haired prince. He is pretty manly. Yeah, the Sylvain kind of guy, the Brody prince. Yeah. Unfortunately, they don't have a bio for him yet. It hasn't been released. So I can't really get a much better look at him, but you know, Vander's fine. I'm cool with Vander. Although his armor is like kind of weird and boring. I guess it's okay. But it's funny because like this was like one of the main, when the leaks first happened, this was one of the two characters that we really saw a good like glimpse of, and people were like, this does not look like Fire Emblem at all. I think it will grow on us, if I'm being honest, but it's definitely different for sure. Oh, this is a pretty cool clip. I like this one. Just Alir on their own getting a crit. It's fun. Looks good. I like it. What other characters we have here to talk about? Just back to the beginning already? I feel like it, yeah. I like the Sand Kingdom girl. We don't know her name yet. I like Abby a lot. Abby's got a cool design. Some of the bad guys I like too from the new trailer, for sure. I'll say that like our units, maybe it's because we're just seeing like some of the early game characters, but they are a little generic so far. Like Boucheron or whatever, as much as I don't like his little head, he just kind of looks like a kind of standard axe fighter kind of character. There's nothing that exciting about him. Like Chloe is like really not, she doesn't stand out that much. Like I said though, I like her hair. But yeah, I mean, it's looking good. It's looking good. I don't know that I like the characters more than the whole Three Houses aesthetic so far, but I'm gonna give it a shot, of course. Kaiser Leon says, think of War Monks, but the cage is covered for her gown. Yeah, possibly. Maybe she has the whole Lissa thing going on, sure. Roy the Boy says, Celine is still my favorite in terms of design still, though. What's up, Chip? Chip says, I still hate most noses in this game. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of the whole, like, a single vertical line as a nose. But stuff looks good in cutscenes, so what can I say? What else we got here? Methodius said, it's a Digimon. Talking about one of the Pokemon from earlier. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely starting to cross that boundary with some of the designs. Stellar Luna says, Boucheron. I don't know if you're making fun of the way I said it or if that's actually the correct way of saying it. If it's the correct way, then thank you. I appreciate you. What's up, Edgardo? I think I read one of your comments earlier. James Barbett. Just kind of want to go through and give some kudos to some folks I see in here. The Coconut's been a big one tonight. Thank you for all your support, the Coconut. I think it's the first time I've ever seen you. Best waifu. Oh, God. I think for me, Chloe is winning. I don't even know if I'm saying her name right. I think it's probably Chloe right now. But I'm not gonna lie, I like that redheaded Anna-esque character. Where is she? And Abby. Abby's like up there too. There's gonna be some fierce competition. Let's see, where is it? Here we got Chloe in all her glory. Oh, that one right there. I don't get what the stars are for. There's like a really weird, like, almost like performance kind of like vibe to some of the characters, because we have that like bad girl that's kind of clownish, and we have this girl and she's got stars all over her. So I don't really get what's going on with that, but that's kind of a waifu character too, huh? Ruby says it's spelled Chloe. Yeah, I just don't know because it's French. I'm not French, so. Ruby says, "Oh no, it's not. Oh no, not the star girl." The coconut agrees with the Chloe choice. You know what? Let's put this to a poll. I want to see what you guys say. Let me find this here. I gotta find my old tab. Do a little poll. Let's actually. This is called engaging with the audience. Isn't that funny, huh? If it would work, come on. Hold on, I gotta refresh this. I hope I get all the options in here. I'm just gonna do girl characters for now. I'm sorry to my other fans out there that might want to talk about the male characters, but we're talking about waifus right now, so let's just do waifus on this list. I'm gonna put Chloe. I'm gonna put Celine. Put. Why is yes and no here? Hold on. We got Chloe. We got new redhead, not Anna. We have Fram. We have Celine. We have Celica Engage version. I guess you could waifuify. Is that all my options? Oh, that might be all my options. Okay, there weren't a lot of options, but there is a poll there. Have we seen more female characters? We've seen the Somni, the Solm desert girl. She's kind of cute too. Ram in the lead. Interesting. Eloise, lay off the damn puns. What? Oh, the engage pun. Yep. Yeah, I'm wondering if 80 is going to be Eddie. That's a good question, actually, Ruby. You brought that up by writing it that way. In the Japanese, I think it's 1T, so I've been saying it 80, but we haven't actually gotten her name officially given to us yet, so difficult to know. Oh, I know who I'm... Oh, Chloe's not even an option. Oh my god, I totally bangled... What's the word? Totally messed up that poll. I put Chloe as the description. I'm sorry. Well, it didn't give me enough options anyway. Actually, you know what we can do? Let's do a straw poll. It's better than this YouTube poll stuff, right? Here, let me make a straw poll. No, we'll get all the girls in there. Multiple, no, we're doing, yeah, multiple choice. We are doing female Alir. We're doing Celine. We are doing Citrine. We are doing Chloe. Fram. Who else? Darker skinned girl from Sand Kingdom. Dancer looking. Got as descriptive as I can there because I don't know her name. Who else? Who else is in here? I'm gonna put Licorice, Candyland, Clown, Evil Girl. Redhead, not Anna. Oh, 80. Can't forget 80. Is that it so far? Mommy Dragon. Probably dead. Is this the whole gang? Is the gang all here? No, there's definitely some other... There's a lot of other female, like, evil characters that we've... Oh, I didn't put Abby. How could I not put Abby? All right, I think that's good. I think that's good for now. Let's create the poll. Copying the link. Let me throw this into the chat. Oh, let's not do that. Oops, and I just lost chat. Sorry. Live docs, I want the chat. Thank you. Let's go back here. Let's throw this in the chat. And let's see what you guys say. Throw it in there twice. I'm going to vote. I'm going to vote for... I mean, I talked a big game about Chloe, so I'm going to go with her. I'll just stay true to my word, and let's check out the results here. 2 votes Chloe. 3 votes Chloe. 2 votes Abby. Got a vote for Fram, and a vote for the darker skinned girl from the Sand Kingdom. Ooh, she's coming in hard. Mommy Dragon probably dead. Somebody gave a vote to. You guys are funny. Chip says, I don't know any of these girls' names. Citrine is the Priscilla-looking one. I'll help out those who are maybe still voting. Do we see her? We see her better in the other trailer, but I'll go. Citrine is this girl on the left here. She's like the other blonde. She has like a feather in her hair in the other trailer. We don't know who this pink-haired chick is yet, but Celine is Mrs. Ballgown herself. Is she in here? Here, this is the licorice girl. Did I put licorice girl on there? I did. This is the licorice girl I was talking about. This kind of evil-looking girl. I like this brunette here. She's kind of cute. But we know nothing about her, so putting her on there doesn't serve any purpose. Here is Abby, evil malignite girl that somehow turns good. We got some other characters here. I could have done moon-shaped horns chick, but I don't think a lot of you guys would have remembered who that is probably. I also could have put Dragonlog. There's Celine here in the back with the crown and the big ball gown. I feel like that kind of explains most of them, right? The redhead who's not Anna is who we had on screen before. She's around here somewhere, isn't she? Right there. What do we got, though? 1 vote just came in for the redhead, not Anna. I see you out there. Somebody just saw that and said, "Ooh, me likey." Chloe is in the lead with 5 votes, and we also have the darker skinned girl from the Sand Kingdom, and I guess that shouldn't be surprising. She's kind of cute too. Let's get her in here for a second. I mean, yeah.
That's what's on the menu first.
Yeah, I like her aesthetic, her vibe. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, Chloe is the most, like, we've kind of seen her the most at this point, sort of. At least she was in the first trailer. We got her bio out. Like, I feel like she's pretty easily known, easily accepted. Everybody else you kind of have to know a little bit more probably for. Except maybe Fram. Yeah, poor Fram. But Fram is also like kind of little girl status, so maybe that's why. Maybe it's a good thing that she's not winning right now. Let me do something really quick here. I gotta sign into this chat so I can chat from OBS. Let's see, does it work now? Whoa. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Well, on the actual messed up poll that I did through the YouTube polling system, the redhead won. I guess she was on screen for a while, so that kind of makes sense, but interesting. What's up, Hornet? Hornet Silk Song says, "Dear God, the dumb hip clothes gap." What? Who are we talking about? This girl? Are we talking about Celine with the ball gown? I don't know who we're talking about, but I don't know. Nobody's design has offended me quite that much. The coconut is drooling over Abby. Chloe and the girl behind Clown Girl are the only decent designs, LOL, says Hornet. Interesting. I don't totally agree, but it's not that you have bad taste, because I like both of those a lot as well. I guess I just don't mind the ones that you hate as much. But yeah, so with that said, I might stick around for a couple more minutes in chat here, but we kind of did talk about everything we wanted to talk about tonight. We really thoroughly, with a fine-tooth comb, went through this new trailer and even related it back to the first one. So I hope that was fun for you. If you missed it, you should be able to go back earlier on the stream. Otherwise, it'll be up on the channel. I am debating doing my usual video style of like an actual fully edited video for this. But I can't say when that is going to be out. I have, work in the morning and stuff going on tomorrow night. So like, I don't know when that would actually come out. It might come out too late, to be honest. But I'll see. I'll think about it. I definitely want to do more Engage content. I know I'm sorry I haven't been putting out like most of the normal videos these days. I've just been kind of busy and preoccupied with some other stuff. I've tried to maintain the streams every single week, so I hope those of you who often tune in, I hope you have a good time here. I really appreciate you guys spending your nights with me. So I hope you have a good time. Hope we make it fun here. Like I said, I will be doing the Twitch channel points stuff in the future. I didn't have time before today to really dive into it and set anything up in there. I got to play with it a little bit, but I'm excited for that, because that means that once I do that and you're watching on Twitch, as you watch, you'll accrue these free points, and then you'll be able to cash in those free points and do some funny stuff on the stream. So I think that's kind of fun. It's fun for me when I'm on other people's streams. So Mr. Fox says Clown Girl is really bad. Let's look at Clown Girl one more time. I don't hate her, but she's definitely got a clown vibe, It's a little weird to see in Fire Emblem. I don't know like I feel like with Japanese developers, maybe I shouldn't stereotype, but I feel like there's usually like a big reasoning for like a lot of the things that they do. Like it's often inspired by stuff. There's always like a deeper, more like spiritual, maybe not always spiritual, but like I don't often get the sense that they do things randomly, like throwing a dart at a dartboard. I feel like there's a reason why they pick certain themes and aesthetics for certain things. Like they're very thoughtful. So I wonder why we're going with this weird clown, weird clown vibe. Yeah. Definitely a little strange. Definitely a little strange. So. What's up, Vopop30? Welcome. Vopop30 says they don't have those bizarre tail digits like they... Sorry, I missed it. It went off screen. Let me find it. They don't have those bizarre tail digits Alib and Magvel wyverns had. I kind of like how the horse design and the wyvern design are always switching up. It keeps things really fresh, like looking, Something fun about that. Hornet says even Kranya looked like she fit the aesthetic. That is very true. She had kind of a little clown vibe going, and she did that very well, I would say. I would agree. Marth Pikazul X says, speaking of clowns, what is this music? Yeah, I'm sorry. This was music I picked out for the Halloween stream. Specifically for like if I had the full camera on and was talking to chat for a little while. It kind of fits with our clown conversation going on right now, I'll say that. But yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't change it. It was like a seasonal music track I put for the Halloween stream. And I just turned it on to give us a little something else in the background here. Chip says, still don't understand Lawrence's awful hair then from Three Houses. I loved Lawrence's hair. I love his hair. Even pre-time skip Lawrence when his hair is the worst. And I love that he has like the undercut like fade in the back with like the bowl cut thing like on top of it. Ugh. I don't know. BoPop30 says, this chick or Perry, who sticks out worse? It's this chick. It's this chick. At least Perry has like normal armor. Just the weird cotton candy hair. This chick's like whole vibe is like, where did you come from? Like, look at Alear and then look at that chick. And it's like, it's like she opened a portal from a different world and walked through. She came from Clown World. Chip says his hair is gross. Roy the Boy says, I don't jive with weird clown girls. And also, Lawrence's hair is what makes him Lawrence. It's okay not to like him, but it's there for a reason. It's true. It really adds to his aesthetic. What's up, Metal Doji? Chip says, also, where you at in Three Houses again? Yeah, I'm sorry, Chip. Tonight I was going to do Three Houses Maddening again. But obviously with this trailer drop today, I kind of thought maybe a lot of folks would like to talk about this. So that's what replaced today. But we are about to do Death Knight. Still pretty early on. Death Knight for the first time in the Holy Tomb map of Blue Lions Maddening. I don't know. Maybe I'll stream Saturday night. I haven't made Saturday plans yet this week. So maybe I'll keep that open for a stream night, or I'll see when I next feel like it. Friday night, I'm not going to be able to stream. I can't stream tomorrow night. So I do want to get back to that. Trust me, I'm eagerly looking forward to playing more of that. I've been playing more of my other Maddening, the New Game Plus, kind of more baby Maddening on the side. And I've kind of really been enjoying that. So I do want to get back to the Blue Lions Maddening stream for sure. Chip says, I'm glad I'm ahead to give advice. Thank you, Chip. Roy the Boy says, I love Lawrence's sitting posture in the sauna. Is this something we should look at right now? Can we even? Do I have a file? Nah, that's too much work. I have my Switch set up, but I don't think I'm on a monastery moment right now, so it would take a lot to go back to that. I'll have to look into that though, Roy. I don't know. I'm not sure what you mean. I guess I've never invited him into the sauna. That's what's really cool about Three Houses is like there's still stuff that I'm discovering now. Like even minor tiny little details. Like, do you remember in Three Houses, do I have the clip? Actually, I do have the clip, don't I? Hold on. I recorded a video. I will play it for you guys if it works in here. I'm just saving some footage as I play through on the side in case I want it for videos or something. I made Ingrid my dancer in my Silver Snow run that I'm doing right now on the side. New Game Plus Maddening. Let's go sort by date. And did you know that once you select somebody as your house dancing representative for the... what is it? The Heron Cup? What is it called? I forget. I just did this. I should remember this very clearly. And I do not. When you pick someone to be your dancer, though, I didn't realize that there's other custom dialogue from other students about that character. So, for example, I picked Ingrid as my dancer, and I ran around the monastery, and there was a new dialogue, like a recorded voice dialogue line from Mercedes about Ingrid being the dancer. Like, that's really intense in terms of, like, effort and customization there. That's like, whoa. Is it this? Hold on.
Can you believe we won?
Well, there's one clip. Is that not the one I wanted, though? I can't find the Mercedes part right now, but this is a clip of Ingrid.
Can you believe we won? Maybe I'm a natural after all.
Are you? I can't tell if you're... Oh, you probably did hear that. But I can't hear it. I didn't have it on monitoring that. Let me see. I hope that didn't just ruin your ears. I am sorry. Where is that media source?
Maybe I'm a natural after all.
So, like, I mean, this isn't like so totally impressive, that particular clip. That's her talking about winning at the end. That's a custom dialogue line that they recorded for her about winning the Heron Cup. But more specifically, what really shocked me was like other characters. In the case of Ingrid, there was a line from Mercedes. So they had an entire custom line from a different character about Ingrid winning the Heron Cup and becoming the class dancer. That's like to such a deep level of like specific and custom. The White Heron Cup. Thank you, Vopop. That's like crazy. That's awesome. I love that they have stuff like that. Like, you're never going to hear them all then, because you'd have to go through and make every single other person a dancer. And maybe there's not a custom line of dialogue for every character from other folks, but that was just really surprising to me. I didn't expect that at all. Chip says, also, I just realized recently I could look at the stats of other characters you don't have recruited when talking to them in the monastery. Yeah, there's also stuff like that you never really do, that you eventually stumble upon, right? I don't do that often at all, but you're right. I did find that at one point, and I forgot about that. Hornet says, Three Houses is so good with details. Dorothea's quote about Ferdy as an enemy makes me sad every time I hear it. I have never heard it. Interesting. Vopop says, bro, how many tabs do you have open? This is my, listen, there are a lot of tabs open here. A lot of this is Three Houses stuff for the maddening run in case I want to jump in midstream and talk about, like, you know, this class gets this ability and whatnot. So it's helpful for the stream, but if I'm being completely honest with you, this is not even my real browser, bro. I have Firefox open and easily 100+ tabs, so I have a bit of a problem. There's a lot of things that, like, I want to do and want to get to, but I'll get to it later. So, like, the tab is there and I'm doing other stuff, but then sometimes I don't get back to it for a while. And so it can get out of control pretty easily. I used to have entire browsers with just tabs saved for like video research and stuff. Like before my computer crashed a couple weeks ago and I had to reinstall Windows, my Google Chrome was filled with like research tabs and other things. So it just happens sometimes, you know? Oh, Pop says, Gatekeeper's line after Gerald's death hits me hard every time. Yeah. What's up, Eleanor? Eleanor says, she reminded me of the daughter of the Heart Queen in Ever After High. I don't know what that is, but I'm guessing you're talking about the clown girl. And I'm sure that you're right, so... yeah. Yeah. Kaiser Leon says VTubers. Yeah, I know some of these like character aesthetics are very like VTubery, or I saw a lot of people comparing them to Genshin Impact designs. I don't know if that's them like trying to appeal to the mass market and get like more character design variety to like lure in new people, right? Because like this is also coming after the success of Heroes, and Three Houses did too, I guess, but maybe they see that potential, especially because this game has like characters from all across the series. So like a new person could like pretty easily get invested into it. So maybe they're trying to go like extra hard and appeal to like the younger, I guess Genshin's not even specifically like younger crowd, but I know my younger brother was kind of more into it than I was, Genshin. I didn't give Genshin much of a fair shake, if I'm being honest. I have too many gachas that I was playing already at the time, so it becomes a nightmare. So I didn't really try it very much, but I don't know. It does seem like this is kind of a new aesthetic that we're kind of pushing more towards, though, huh? Uelo, I don't know how to say your name properly, but research, quote unquote, research. Yeah, I guess that's fair when I say that, okay? But in this particular case, I mean, these are like literally all Three Houses tabs, so I don't even think I have Chrome installed yet on this computer to resume all my tabs there. Chip says, this game will be a good crash course for Fire Emblem lore, so it's probably good for kids. Yeah, I mean, I would hope so. I hope that it kind of appeals to the mainstream, maybe even more. I'll be honest, I think Three Houses was a really great game to appeal to the mainstream, because that I know people have their complaints about Three Houses, but even just playing through it again after a little while of not playing through it, like a lot of moments hit so hard in Three Houses. When Byleth fuses with Sothis, like that whole scene, it's like goosebump worthy. Like, even though you know what's gonna happen, like it's not that like unpredictable plot wise, just the emotional, the music and the swelling and like the way that they achieved it, how beautiful it looks, like the cutscene, like it's just well done, well done. I love the story of Three Houses so much. Say what you will about the routes and not getting enough effort in some places, and maybe the execution could be better here and there, but like I love Three Houses so much, honestly. So like to me, like this, what I'm a little scared of is like, since they have the whole ring aesthetic, I'm a little afraid like maybe they're not confident that the new characters can't hold the game up on their own. Because like we're relying so much on the nostalgia of like the older characters like Marth and the other lords in the rings, that like I really hope the cast of this game itself can kind of stand on their own. Like the fact that, you know, if Alfred always has like Sigurd like coming off of his hip, like do I really care about Alfred? That's like he's like not even a full character then, you know? I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case, but I do worry about so much leaning on that vibe. All right, I'm gonna switch up the music for the last few minutes here. Let's do something better. Let's do the classic. Where is it? Is it this one? Oh no, that's not music. Remove that. Media source, where is it? Stream start music? Yeah. There we go. That's fun. Kaiser Leon says Three Houses is definitely top 3 in story and visual design, in my opinion. Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that one. I mean, it's hard to say for me because like I feel like when I play each game, I end up liking it more than I remembered and stuff like that. So I'm sure the list would constantly change, but right now I definitely vibe with what you're saying a lot. I think top 3 is very fair. The Coconut says Blue Lions was the best route in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, I love Dimitri. I'm kind of biased. I mean, you can't see it right now exactly, but there's a Blue Lions flag right there, so banner. My opinion on that is very biased, so I guess I'd probably agree with you. Hornet says Hidari and whoever did the Three Houses designs were so good, gonna miss them. Yeah, I would wonder what they would do for a Genealogy remake, which I still think is coming, probably next. I wonder if they would bring back Hidari, since Hidari did the Echoes remake, or if they'll just do something completely new all over again. Maybe that's more likely. But I do like the change. I like how the series constantly changes visually. I mean, it's fun. It's good variety. Chip says, speaking of Blue Lions love, I'm thinking of getting a Crest of Dominic tattoo for Annette, my beloved. That's some commitment right there, Chip. Where are you thinking of putting it? Tramp stamp? Above your butt? Who has to see it? Will it be on your arm? I mean, I'll be honest, the crest designs are pretty cool. Like, they would make pretty cool tattoos. If I was, like, obsessed with Three Houses, let's just, hold on. I know Dimitri's, the Crest of Blight, that is kind of cool. It's very, like, lightning-y. Did we get good images here? I mean, the Crest of Flames is kind of cool, too, honestly. I'm not a huge tattoo guy. Someday I would like to have a tattoo. I don't have any currently. But I feel like, for me, it's such a permanent thing that it really would have to be very meaningful to me. So, maybe it would be something Fire Emblem related. We'd have to see. But I'm not there yet. Like, I haven't gotten to that point where I'm like, this is the tattoo I want. And it's going on my face, you know? I did like Crom. The brand of the Exalt on his shoulder is kind of cool. For the fireside art I did of me sitting on the couch, I put it on my hand. But that was a pretty cool one. Crom shoulder tattoo with that. The problem is nobody would know what it is, and then when you try to explain to them what it is, they're not gonna understand. It would be a lot to explain. Crom is one of my favorite blue-haired lords, though, for sure. I think, unfortunately, like, he's like one of the most inconsistent visually. I feel like he's always kind of changing the way that he looks, and like not always for the best. In Awakening, he looked so good. I loved the way his design was. Let me open this in a new thing so you can see this fully. Hope Pinterest. I don't like you, Pinterest. Let's find Awakening Crom. I don't know. Anyway, I just feel like he looked his best in his original game, especially in the CG cutscenes in that game. He looked awesome. Graphics were great. And then elsewhere, his design's been kind of hit or miss. Like sometimes they make him kind of scrawny. His original Heroes art, I don't love because of that. Because his arms are kind of really scrawny and he doesn't look great. But you know, it's Crom. Also, Brave Crom. Kind of strange looking. You know. Chloe won the poll, by the way. 7 votes. But I'm sure once the game comes out, we'll have more fierce competition and tougher opinions on a lot of things. So, with that said, though, let's check chat one more time here, and then I'll probably wrap up. It's getting very late. Roy the Boy says, the tramp stamp talk brought the bots here. Do we have bots? I missed it. Oh, we do. 69 mega. Goodbye. Reporting. Yeah, it's not a stream without bots at some point. You would think YouTube would like find some easy way of like making it so that you can only create one YouTube account a day per IP or something. Like, how could they make so many millions of accounts? It's just crazy. Or do they enjoy the inflated numbers of so many millions of accounts getting created and they don't want to ruin that? Maybe that's why. Uelo says, how do you even date an AI? Because the 69 mega thing said new AI dating for all tastes and ages. That's pretty funny, yeah. Marth Pikazul X says Fate's Crom looked better. Did it? Like Amiibo and Fate's Crom? I gotta look that up now. Like his model or something? Oh, yeah, because they touched up the art a little bit. Yeah. I agree. They added... The Fates art was like just slightly different, so they went back and added a few more details to like his original portrait from Awakening. Yeah, I vibe with that. That's pretty cool. I'm with you. That was a good one. Good taste. Mercenary BDU says inflated accounts equals advertising bling. Yeah, exactly. Bo Pop says I remember TMS Crom. TMS Crom is cool. I don't have a problem with TMS Crom. He's just like way more edgy. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, to me, it's not like exactly Crom, you know? Because I feel like, I don't know. He's just very edgy. But I don't have any qualms about that one. Oh, I'm sorry. Have I been doing this in the wrong browser this whole time? I am sorry. I got switcherooed. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is what I was talking about. Crom from Fire Emblem Fates. Oh, where is it? guess that's it. Yeah. They went back to his awakening portrait and added a little bit more, and there's some, I think, like edge highlighting and stuff from the light that wasn't there before, because this is, I think this is like a Phoenix Master video or something, but there's the awakening portrait, and here is the Fates portrait. It's just like a little bit more detailed. It's nice. Nicely done. Here's Scrawny Crom. I don't love it. This is a good. Oh, but that's because that's from the private quarters, I think. Wait, private quarters. What is that from? I don't remember where that's from. Oh, that's some art from something, I think. But I liked that vibe. Crom and Fire Emblem Warriors was pretty good, but I still think his model looked better in the cutscenes of Awakening. Brave Crom is kind of, his face is like really wide. I don't know why. But yeah, I like Crom. I like Crom a lot. I wouldn't wake up and cringe to oblivion, I guess, if I had a Crom tattoo. The Crom brand of the Exalt. I might cringe a little when I remembered that it was permanent. What's up, Will Be Tizing? What's your analysis conclusion? Not sure what you mean. I mean, we thoroughly X-Acto knifed apart the trailer and talked about a lot of different things. My conclusion is the story seems pretty straightforward. I mean, it kind of seems like Alear is just going to go from like kingdom to kingdom, I guess, helping them or recruiting new folks, getting more rings. Bad guys use the same rings, obviously, as us, so you know, there's a reveal there. Because some of us were speculating maybe they would have like evil characters throughout the series as the rings for their own rings, but that's not the case. My conclusion would be I'm pretty excited for the game. I am cautiously optimistic. I'm hoping the story is a lot better than it at first seems from the trailers, if I'm being honest. Just because it seems very generic. And I get it, like 30th anniversary entry, like they want it to be accessible and also like harken back to the series classics, because like this is like honoring the Fire Emblem series, so that's why we have all the lords and stuff. So I get it. I mean, that's fine, but like I just hope that it's interesting enough, because I think it's just such a drastic difference now coming back from Three Houses to this. Three Houses was, it still had some of the tropes, you know, like the series has always had, but it was done in such a great way where like things were not all that predictable, and you know, the different paths I personally appreciated. So going back to like series standard after that seems really out of place, and I just hope it's not boring story-wise. I think gameplay-wise, like every other Fire Emblem game, it's going to be great. I have no fears about that whatsoever. I guess my biggest concern would be like, I hope there's like longevity to this game and not just like this is the 30th anniversary game and people talk about it, they play it for like 2 months and then it's dead because there's like nothing else to it beyond that. You know what I mean? I mean, Three Houses lasted for what it did, which was great, but I want more substance. I hope there's more substance to this game. I'm a little concerned about how standard we're looking here, but they've never released like a greedy, in my personal opinion, from the top of my head, from what I can remember, I don't believe that they've ever released a greedy cash grab Fire Emblem title. And there is something that is something I'm so grateful for, because and if you're excited for the new Pokemon games, I hope you love them. Like I said, let me preface this by saying that I just don't like the reduced quality of the modern Pokemon entries. I think they are completely lacking and completely missing their full potential from what they could be. And that's mostly why I am not super happy with them and probably not getting them. I don't know. I'm still debating with Scarlet and Violet if I do want to get them or not, but I just know that they could be way better, and it's kind of sad to think about that when you do. But Fire Emblem, they always put a lot of effort into, so I am very grateful. So Will says, I started with Echoes, then 3 Houses, so it definitely feels weird to me. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, because this is co-developed with Gust this time, who is a subdivision of Koei Tecmo, it's not the same team that did 3 Houses. It's why the art style is different, because I believe Gust is responsible for like the Atelier games. You can see that the very distinct little flares that they have, even with those games you see in some of the designs there. So I feel like the character designs are a bit wackier this time because it's this new team doing it and everything. It's in some ways it's really stepping outside of what Fire Emblem usually does, but storyline wise, the basic elements are there. So let's see if they do something different with it, or if they'll just, you know, do the same tropey stuff they always do with the classic ones. Opop says, the big plot twist is that there is a villain ring, and it's Veld. You know, since Veld had like 6 minutes of screen time. Yeah. Yeah, they pick Veld before anybody else. Mercenary says, the last cash grab was Fates for when they diced up that game and sold the regular edition and piecemeal. Yeah, I guess that was scuzzier for sure. But I mean, you still get a full game with each of the routes. It's just that you don't really get the choice then, which is what they kind of advertised heavily about Fates. So on some level, that's fair. I would say the DLC often is overpriced for what it is and a little cash grabby. So you could comment about that. But at the end of the day, like, the DLC is always extra stuff. It's not really stuff you need, and I really appreciate that. So you're always getting a full, solid, enjoyable game with typically a decent amount of replay value. So Bopop says, Hidari did art for a few Atelier games, right? I don't know anything about that. That's interesting. Will says, I just finished Triangle Strategy, and it really made me appreciate having character portraits for dialogue. We've seen that Alir seems to have a character portrait sometimes for dialogue in this game, but yeah, it doesn't seem like other folks do, which is kind of odd. I've never played Triangle Strategy. I really meant to, and I was like in the middle of moving during that time, and so it just really never happened for me. But I know that's supposed to be good. At some point, maybe we have to do that. Maybe I'll do that on the channel live. Stream it. Marth Pikazul X says, Echoes DLC, that was pretty bad. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Echoes DLC being like considerably more than the game price itself was pretty bad. Yeah. Chip says, for sure, play Triangle Strategy. It was amazing. Eleanor says, Red Marth want to burn things like Arvis. Yeah, I mean, if there was an evil Arvis ring and you got it and you put it on, could we get a blue-haired Arvis? Would he be nice Arvis and only do cookouts on small, tiny cooking grills? Something to think about. I skipped a lot of the dialogue because it was so long and characters' faces weren't shown, but loved the gameplay. Interesting. Oh, you're saying because Triangle Strategy did not have them. Interesting. Have I seen the comments on the trailer? Let's see. I love that Marth actually turns into a red enemy unit. Yeah, I mean, there is something kind of funny about that, right? It is pretty funny. I personally like how Marth clarifies he is the Emblem Marth. They still have the same personalities of the originals, but that clarification lets you know the Emblem is more of an echo that was summoned. Echo of the hero that was summoned 1,000 years ago. Yeah, exactly. I like that as well. The blue represents divinity, proud and unwavering. The red represents evil, corrupt, and selfish. But there must always be a balance to achieve true toothpaste. Yeah, this one gets me too. Kill every living soul in this castle one by one was a very Dimitri-esque kind of line. That was pretty interesting. Yeah, pretty classic comments here. With that, though, guys, I'm going to wrap things up. It's getting very late over here, but thank you so much for joining me. If you missed like most of the analysis, obviously go back in the stream. It should be available to you soon if it already isn't right now. It'll be up on the channel. I may still do a fully edited stream analysis, trailer analysis video, although we went through like everything very thoroughly on this stream, which was kind of an effective way of doing it, I think. And I made a lot of notes, but I kind of remembered most things as we went through, so I didn't even need them. But definitely check that out if you're interested in seeing the full breakdown. We talked a lot about a lot of different topics, so I hope it was fun for you. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate all of you guys. Shout out to the Coconut for all the support tonight. But also shout out to those of you that are here, like Roy the Boy, Mary Sue, Vopop30, Edgardo, Liker, Chip was here, of course, Eleanor, Marth Pikazul X, Mercenary BDU, Kaiser Leon. Who else was here? Uelo. Sorry, I still don't know how to say your name. Hornet was here, of course. Maybe anybody else back here? I don't know if I said Roy the Boy already, but Roy the Boy was here. L. David. Methodius was here. We had Amanda Green earlier. Metal Doji. Mr. Fox. Stellar Luna. Etienne was here. Fred Sanchez was here. Rebel 53. Kuma King. Thank you, guys. Appreciate all of you. I hope you're excited for this game. I am definitely excited. Look forward to more content moving forward. I will be back with a Fire Emblem Three Houses Blue Lions Maddening stream, maybe Saturday evening. We'll have to see how my schedule works. But the next time I stream will be that. If you are not subscribed and you liked this, please get subscribed. I'm going to continue doing streams every single week. And I promise I will also get back to making normal videos on the channel. My typical stuff that I have not been doing. So sorry about that. I've just been really busy. And the streams, at least, the stream is a stress-free, easy way for me to just like plop in here, play something, and talk to you guys. And that's really fun. So I've really liked the streaming a lot. So we'll continue to do both, but I promise I'll get back to the main videos as well. But thank you guys. I love you all. Thank you. I hope to see you soon. I'll be back.